Chapter 2894. From start to finish, Yizichin maintained his warm smile and nodded towards Aubert, Dilina, and the female shop assistant, Suhong. Milky Way Lord, Aubert shouted with bloodshot eyes. From his point of view, this sort of insult was worse than killing him. Oxman cared about their face the most. Aubert had sworn that he would cause trouble for Karkit with his woman, but in the end, they were actually chased out of the shop. How could he tolerate that? Please leave. The shop manager's tone had already turned cold. So what if I don't leave? Aubert glared at him. Why do you care if I leave or not? I leave if I want to leave. I stay if I want to stay. Who do you think you are to tell me what to do? Sir, I already gave you 3 warnings. So what? Hello, this is Shop 16 of the 3rd Business District. Please send someone over. Someone is causing trouble here. The shop manager took out his walkie-talkie. Hearing that, Aubert's expression instantly darkened. What do you mean? Nothing, sir. You'll know soon enough. Not long after the shop manager said that, a group of security guards walked in from outside the shop. That's him. The shop manager quickly pointed at Aubert. The man at the very front of the security guards raised his hand and made a please gesture. Please leave, sir. You? Before Aubert could even finish his sentence, the security personnel had already made their move. Let go of me. Milky Way Lord, tell them to let go of me. Aubert shouted with bloodshot eyes. Yizichin shrugged with a smile. Let go of him. The security guards frowned, then looked at the shop manager, then let go after getting his permission. Aubert patted his clothes and looked coldly at Yizichin. Does His Holiness Aubert have anything to say? Yizichin squinted his eyes and muttered, then raised his eyebrows and pointed at the clothes in the shop. Or, does His Holiness Aubert want to buy all the clothes in this shop as well? No problem. I'll give you that chance. Hearing that, Aubert's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. How could I possibly buy everything here? 180 million. I can't afford it at all. Even if I pawn everything I own, it's impossible. What happened? Could it be that His Majesty Aubert has run out of points? Didn't you use points to pressure me just now? That's it. And here I thought you'd have a bright future. Milky Way Overlord, aren't you relying on the fact that you know Blue Lotus Fairy? If not for Fairy Blue Lotus, would you have these points? Aubert lowered his eyes and sneered. From his perspective, Blue Lotus Fairy was the one who gave Yizichin his points. Blue Lotus Fairy, he said that the points were given to me by you. Yizichin shrugged helplessly, then slapped Aubert across the face. So what? A slap worth 8 billion points. One could well imagine the effect when it landed on Aubert's face. This slap directly loosened his teeth, and his whole body slammed heavily against the tempered glass outside. Yizichin smiled, then slowly walked in front of Aubert. Aubert, what qualifications do you have to order me around? Who do you think you are? I can exterminate your entire clan with a single word. Do you believe that I can make you lose everything you have? You dare hit me? Aubert roared with bloodshot eyes, then raised his fist and punched towards Yizichin. Boom! The energy barrier instantly sent Aubert flying back to the tempered glass. Wake up. You know very well that points mean everything here. Yet you still want to punch me? That's fine. I found a good excuse. If you want to threaten the Milky Way Overlord's life, then use this as an excuse. Do you think wiping out your entire clan is enough? Aubert's pupils contracted violently. Then, Yizichin twisted his neck and returned to Dilina. When she saw Yizichin walk over, she hurriedly lowered her head. Raise your head and look at me. Dilina, whose heart was filled with terror, slowly looked up and saw Yizichin point at Aubert. Break up with him. I can guarantee your clan's safety. If you insist on being with him, I'm not sure if your clan will be able to survive. Or perhaps you'll be suppressed to the point where you can no longer survive in the human race. Aubert looked up with shock in his eyes. He looked at Dilina, who was biting her lips and shaking her head repeatedly. Dilina, think carefully. Yizichin put his mouth next to her ear and laughed softly. If you can curse him to my heart's content, I can pretend today's events never happened. But if you can't satisfy me, then what did you say about being a Milky Way Overlord? That's what you said, right? I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. Let's split up. Before Yizichin could even count down, Dylina said it out loud. Yi Zichen wasn't surprised at all. She had no feelings for Aubert at all. She was just using him for her own benefit. When the benefits she gained from Aubert were less than the benefits she lost, she naturally knew what to do. Dylina, Aubert shouted. Aubert, I've never liked you. Do you really think an ox-human like you is good enough for me? You're just a lowly race with slightly higher intelligence than a porcupine. Do you know how disgusting it is to be with you? Also, don't be so full of yourself. Do you really think you can have me? The one you slept with that day was just a girl I hired to accompany you. She just cast an illusion on you. Don't come and find me ever again. I feel disgusted when I see you. Dylina's words were sharp. Aubert, who sat limply on the ground, revealed a look of terror in his eyes. You're scaring me. Aubert shouted. All of this is fake. You still want the national weapon I gave you. It's all because you're stupid. I'm going to kill you. Aubert and Dylina began to fight. Yi Zichen watched on with a smile, then tilted his head towards the security personnel. I'll have to trouble you then. It's our honor to serve you. The security personnel nodded respectfully. They had already found out from the store manager that this person was in existence above the level of 100 million. Although the difference between 100 million and a trillion was huge, 100 million was already an extremely high status amongst the lower class. The security personnel walked outside and separated Aubert and Dylina, then cuffed them and took them away. Yi Zichen smiled silently, then gave the store manager a look. You can go pack up now. Yes, sir. The store manager took the employees to pack up, while Karkit walked over from behind. Thank you. You're welcome. Yi Zichen smiled. You should get quite a bit of this 180 million. If you don't have to, then don't be a shop assistant. After all, you used to be a king. You will indeed be laughed at if you work here. Of course, if you're doing this to train your mental state, then pretend like I didn't say anything. Milky Way Lord, you're a decent person. Yi Zichen smiled. Huh, maybe, Karkit said softly. Huh, maybe, Yi Zichen smiled. If you can't survive in the future, come and find me. I'll be very happy to accept you. In the future, if you return to the human race, you can also bring your race to the Milky Way galaxy. We are very willing to accept your race. Chapter 2895. Sir, all of the items you bought are in this ring. At that moment, all of the clothes in the store had already been cleared out. Even the inventory in the storeroom had been cleared out. This ring has a storage function. If you bought it outside, it would cost around 5 million points. You are a big customer of our store, so treat this ring as a gift to you. You earn quite a bit, right? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled towards the store manager, then received the ring. See you next time. Please take care. The store manager, who stood at the entrance, waved towards Yi Zichen. Not long after they left the store, Yi Zichen tilted his head towards Blue Lotus Ferry. Do you want to buy a bag? Buy what? They closed a long time ago. Blue Lotus Fairy rolled her eyes speechlessly. Only then did Yi Zichen look around. It seems like they really did close, and there wasn't anyone in the entire shopping center. He knew that packing would take a lot of time, but F***CK. This isn't right. Since all the stores in the shopping center are closed, that means that it's already very late, right? Yi Zichen turned around and looked at Blue Lotus Fairy, who had a faint smile on her face. Yi Zichen hurried outside and saw that it was a pitch-black night. Can we still go back? What do you think? Blue Lotus Fairy, who walked slowly behind him, shrugged. The last bus is already gone. Lil, Yi, you're very naughty. Stop it. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes at her in annoyance. Hey, you men just don't mean what you say. You said that you have to go back tonight, but you weren't in a hurry at all when packing the clothes. What's more, you wanted me to handle it gently and intentionally waste time. Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth, as if she had seen through Yi Zichen's thoughts. This woman, Yi Zichen, kept a close eye on her. He was going to sell the clothes when he returned. He bought them for 180 million. He could keep the ones that he could wear. Was he going to throw away the ones that he couldn't wear? Since Baiyu had such a strong desire to open a store, then he could directly get her to sell the clothes. Don't act up in front of me. Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth and hugged Yi Zichen's arm. Stop pretending. Let's go. Go where? Let's get a room. We can't spend the night outside, right? As she spoke, a devilish smile appeared in Blue Lotus Fairy's eyes. Today, it's just the two of us. Die. No matter what, the problem of accommodation had to be solved. In the end, Yi Zichen and Blue Lotus Fairy still went to a hotel. However, Yi Zichen didn't give her the chance to get 2 rooms. Women were too scary. Boys must learn to protect themselves when they go out. Unbeknownst to them, at this moment, a man with red eyes and bull horns on his head walked to a place in the courtyard where the door was still open in the middle of the night and the lights were still on. I heard that you can do anything here with points, right? Yes, sir. May I know what you need? A bunny girl came up and whispered. Murder? Do you accept it? Look at how scared you are. Early in the morning, Fairy Blue Lotus, who was eating breakfast in the dining room, curled her lips in disdain. You don't even dare to touch it. Have some face. Don't think that I don't know. If I go, you might record me or something to threaten me. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth as if he saw through Blue Lotus Fairy's thoughts. Is there something wrong with you? Then wouldn't I be ruined as well? Are you afraid of that? Blue Lotus Fairy's face instantly froze. Don't go overboard. Hey, did you guys hear? A human highness died in our ancestral dragon clan. Suddenly, someone in the dining room discussed. Hearing that, Yi Zichen instantly frowned. Blue Lotus Fairy also put down the utensils in her hand and listened to the whispers of the people at the next table. Is this for real? His Majesty of the human race is dead? Yeah, she died really horribly. It's all over the internet right now. I wonder who did it. On the internet, Yi Zichen and Blue Lotus Fairy logged onto the virtual network at the same time. Then, they saw the hottest piece of news. It was the human highness dying horribly. Yi Zichen clicked on it. Dai Lina. Although the person in the photo had been censored, Yi Zichen was still able to recognize her. It was Dai Lina, whom he had met in a shopping center yesterday. How'd she die? Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. Who are you asking? Yi Zichen glanced at her, then didn't pay any more attention to it. It didn't matter to him whether Dai Lina was dead or alive. In the blink of an eye, he saw that Blue Lotus Fairy was still staring at him, and there was a strange look in her eyes. What are you looking at me for? You can't be thinking that I did it, right? Didn't you threaten her yesterday? Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. She slandered your position as the Milky Way Lord in front of you. You held a grudge and killed her. Isn't that reasonable? Are you all right? Haven't we always been together? Yi Zichen glared speechlessly. What's more, why would I kill her? Do I have to be so petty? Who knows? Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. What's more, we didn't sleep together last night, right? We slept separately. IF Asterisk King. Yi Zichen was instantly speechless. Blue Lotus Fairy looked at him for a moment, then burst into laughter. Look at you. I just said a few words, and you don't know how to reply. If the ancestral dragon clan comes looking for you, what are you going to say? Why would they come looking for me? Yi Zichen glared. You have a motive. Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. Blue Lotus Fairy spreads her hands. Furthermore, there are a lot of people who can prove that you and Dai Lina had a quarrel, and then she died that night, right? If you had to put it that way, it would be too far-fetched. Don't think that I'm purposely causing trouble for you. I think there's something fishy about this, said Blue Lotus Fairy. Fairy Blue Lotus says in a low voice, there is no harm in preparing for the worst-case scenario. It can't be. Yi Zichen shrugged. Would the ancestral dragon clan kill the human race's highness just to frame me? If they really did, the human race definitely wouldn't let them off. Yeah, so the ancestral dragon clan definitely wouldn't dare. You're trying to say... Before Yi Zichen could finish his sentence, several figures rushed out of the dining hall. One of them was none other than Aubert. His eyes were bloodshot as he pointed at Yi Zichen and shouted, That's him. Several members of the ancestral dragon clan security department instantly rushed in front of Yi Zichen and pressed him down. What's more, the point barrier didn't appear. What are you doing? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows as he watched the live broadcast. We suspect that you're related to a murder in Prosperity City. Please come back with us for investigation. Chapter 2896. Murderer. The customers in the restaurant ran away in panic, but Fairy Blue Lotus, who was sitting on the opposite side, had a calm expression on her face. She had thought of it from the start. She looked down at Aubert, who was standing behind her, and muttered softly, "Let go of your hand. No matter what, this person is a Milky Way lord, the lord of the Virtual World Corporation. Isn't it a bit too much to treat him like this?" The people from the security department frowned, but did not let go. "Who are you? An accomplice?" "I really don't know what to say." Blue Lotus squinted her eyes with a smile. Blue Lotus Fairy squints her eyes and smiles. "Let go of him. This is the territory of your ancestral dragon clan. It's not like we can run, right?" After saying that, the security department personnel hesitated for a moment, then let go of Yi Zichen. "Regret? You didn't stay in the same room with me yesterday?" Blue Lotus chuckled. Yi Zichen looked up at her for a while. For some reason, he felt like he couldn't see through her. "You already knew?" "Yi Zichen, do you understand the profundities of the universe's secret techniques?" "I am #1 in the universe in secret techniques. What do you think?" Blue Lotus squinted her eyes at him. "I knew from the moment we arrived at Boone City." "She told you about the secret technique?" "Sort of. There's such a secret technique?" "A secret technique of time? Isn't it a secret technique?" Blue Lotus shrugged. "I'm proficient in all secret techniques. Do you think Meng Luo and company are bragging to you? I'm truly proficient in all secret techniques." "What are you two talking about?" The security department personnel frowned, then pointed at Yi Zichen and Blue Lotus. "What are you in such a rush for?" Blue Lotus looked at the security department coldly. "The one who died is our human race's highness. If you think that the person who killed her is a Milky Way lord, then that is an internal matter of the human race. Why are you ancestral dragon getting involved? This happened in our territory." The person who spoke with Yi Zichen and company was a burly middle-aged man. "What's your name?" "The New Palace." "Who was the one who reported you? Was it the one with the horns on his back?" Blue Lotus deity pointed at Aubert and whispered, "Yes. And then you came." Blue Lotus deity laughed inexplicably. "It seems like your ancestral dragon race has a deep grudge with the Milky Way Master. Since you can't do anything about the Milky Way Master, you decided to vent your anger on the Milky Way Overlord. I'm impressed. I'm really surprised by your ancestral dragon clan's actions. Who gave you the order?" "Zuing." "Impudent." Shin Gong instantly glared and pointed at Blue Lotus deity. "You dare to call the ruling master by his name? She's your ruling master, not our human race. Being courteous to you is the human race's courtesy, but she's not doing anything good either." Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged her shoulders, looking for trouble just for the sake of looking for trouble. "Let me ask you, after you received Aubert's report, did you go and investigate?" "Who are you?" "I think you're also an accomplice." Exine Gong frowned and waved at his men. "Arrest her as well." "Huh. But before that, ask your informant. Does he think I'm an accomplice?" Her clear and cold gaze caused Aubert's throat to quiver. He wouldn't dare. "She's not. She's definitely not." Aubert insisted on Blue Lotus Fairy's good identity. "Did you hear that?" Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged with a smile. "Your informant acknowledged my good identity. Then, do you still want to arrest me?" "Of course, you can arrest me, but you better be prepared for the price you'll pay for doing so. Who dares to speak so arrogantly in our ancestral dragon clan?" At that moment, an arrogant laughter sounded out from outside the restaurant. Then, a handsome young man appeared in front of Blue Lotus Fairy and Yi Zichen. So familiar. Yi Zichen felt that this person was very familiar the moment he saw him. "Who are you?" Blue Lotus Fairy asked softly. "Juegio, the head of the City of Prosperity's Public Security Department." The young man squinted his eyes. The fair-skinned man squinted his eyes. "Lady, were you threatening the entire ancestral dragon clan just now?" "Uh-huh." To Yi Zichen's surprise, Blue Lotus Fairy actually nodded without denying it. Juegio couldn't help but be shocked when he saw her actions. He thought that she would at least feign civility with him after he revealed his identity and said something like that. He didn't expect, "You guys are going to arrest me. How can I not threaten you? Don't you think so?" Blue Lotus Fairy, what about you? You can go and ask your superior whether or not I have the strength to do so." At that very moment, the restaurant had already become Blue Lotus Fairy's home turf. She was extremely domineering. Yi Zichen found it hard to imagine that this Blue Lotus Fairy was actually the blue lotus fairy he knew before. Did she have two souls in one body? Otherwise, how could she suddenly change so much? Or rather, Blue Lotus Fairy never thought about bullying him from the start, which was why they were rather casual when they interacted. Jujio was also quite shocked by Blue Lotus Fairy's aura. After a long silence, "Madam, we came here to arrest a suspect. You can't really interfere, right?" Jujio pointed at Yi Zichen and said softly, "According to the information His Holiness Auber provided, we believe that he does have a motive. This is an internal matter of the human race. We have already notified the Mercenary Alliance and the Virtual Realm Corporation to discuss this matter. However, before that, we need to capture the suspect. This is our ancestral dragon clan, so it is our duty to help the human race with the case. Madam, can you provide an alibi for Yi Zichen?" "I can't." "Then can the others?" "Probably not." "Then, why won't you let us take him away?" "That's true." Blue Lotus Fairy's reply was always so unexpected. Fairy Blue Lotus's reply was always so unexpected. From the start, they were opposing each other with equal harshness. Now, she suddenly retreated. "You guys have to let him go later anyways. This isn't up to you, nor is it up to us. We can only come to a conclusion after the internal discussion of the human race." Jujio smiled warmly. "I know what you guys are thinking." Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth with a smile. "The human race is far away. They came to a conclusion that they need to personally send someone here. This journey will take several years. During this time, you guys can torture Yi Zichen as much as you want to satisfy the sick heart of the loser of your clan. Of course, this is your method, and we humans approve of it. Unfortunately, you guys can't capture him for too long." Blue Lotus Fairy repeated those words several times, which seemed to be a signal to Yi Zichen. "Is she telling me to be careful? Someone will definitely be able to save him then?" "That's probably the case. She did say earlier that she knows a secret technique of time. She might have relented because she found out something. We'll have to wait and see." Jujio waved his hand with a smile. Ju Nine smiled and waved his hand. "Detain the Milky Way Lord." Yi Zichen did not resist at all after receiving the signal. He allowed the people from the Ministry of Security to take her away. Aubert also wanted to leave with the people from the ancestral dragon clan, but Blue Lotus Fairy merely sat on a chair with a smile. "Aubert, stop." Chapter 2897. Blue Lotus, Sovereign Blue Lotus. Aubert didn't call out Blue Lotus Fairy's name. In the end, he still called her Sovereign Blue Lotus and lowered his head, not daring to look her in the eye. Seeing his trembling appearance, the Blue Lotus Fairy's face couldn't help but rise, and then she sadly sighed. "How did you manage to be a sovereign?" "Sovereign, if you're so scared after just a little scare, then if I stand there and ask you, would you confess everything?" Blue Lotus Fairy shook her head with a frown. The standards of the human race's sovereigns are getting lower and lower. From the very beginning, Aubert silently listened to Blue Lotus Fairy's lecture. He really wanted to retort and point at Blue Lotus Fairy to tell her not to be too biased towards Yi Zichen. But for some reason, he just couldn't say it. Perhaps he had already been completely brought into Fairy Blue Lotus's rhythm. Under her aura, the fear in Aubert's heart was magnified without limit. "Your human race's sovereigns. I've already made contact with and observed around 100 or so of them. To be honest, the only one in your batch that I'm satisfied with is the Milky Way Lords. There are a few that look pretty good, but I won't mention them. But there are a few that are extremely bad, and you're one of them." Blue Lotus Fairy pointed at Aubert and said softly, "No matter if it's courage, integrity, methods, or talent, you don't meet my standards at all. But since you're a sovereign of the Artifact Alliance, you might have some accomplishments in artifact refinement." "Aubert, you're Oxman, right?" "Yes." Aubert replied softly. "The AO clan's Oxman. That should be the Oxman clan of the Northwest Star region. Are you ready for your clan to be wiped out? Even the Artifact Alliance can't save you." All of a sudden, Aubert's expression turned terrifyingly ugly. He stared at Fairy Blue Lotus in front of him. "Sovereign, you want to wipe out my clan? What did I do wrong for you to do this? This is a matter between us sovereigns, a fight between juniors. What does it have to do with you?" faced with the problem of his entire clan being exterminated. Aubert, whose heart was filled with fear, said the most words he had said in a long time. Ever since we came to the ancestral dragon tribe. No, ever since we left the tribe, our trial has already begun. Although the ancestral dragon tribe hasn't asked us to do anything yet, surviving in the ancestral dragon tribe city is also one of our trials. Of course, this also includes all kinds of struggles. I was the one who gave him the problem of the Galactic Lord. Whether he can solve it or not is his problem. What does it have to do with you? Venerable sir, you are ruining the trial. Aubert shouted with red eyes. Fairy Blue Lotus, who was sitting on her seat, actually laughed when she heard what he said. Not bad, bonus points. You were in a very good state just now. You've seen through this trial very clearly. Indeed, your fight in the ancestral dragon tribe is also one of the trials. The human race has always supported the competition. It's not bad that you can think of this. A satisfied smile lingered on Blue Lotus Fairy's face, but in the blink of an eye, the smile disappeared. What a pity. I'm afraid your clan will still be exterminated. Why? Aubert scolded angrily. Everything that happens in the ancestral dragon tribe has no effect on the outside world. From the moment we enter the ancestral dragon tribe, the status of the outside world is no longer important. We are on the same level. Even if the Galactic Lord is really angry, he should be giving me a difficult problem in the ancestral dragon tribe. Isn't that so? Are you admitting that you plotted against him? Fairy Blue Lotus Fairy's gaze suddenly darkened. I didn't. Aubert didn't hesitate to refute Fairy Blue Lotus Fairy's question. The Galactic Lord has a grudge with Dylina. Many people know about the altercation in the shopping mall. As a witness, I provided evidence. That's all. If that's what you said, you are also a suspect. Fairy Blue Lotus Fairy said softly. Yesterday, didn't you fight with Dylina? You killed him out of love. There shouldn't be any problem with that, right? I didn't go out last night. I played games with my friends in a room the entire night. Aubert said softly. Clap, clap, clap. Hearing that, Fairy Blue Lotus immediately clapped and laughed. Brat, you made me re-evaluate you. You're very good. Fairy Blue Lotus couldn't help but smile and nod repeatedly, while her eyes were filled with satisfaction. You're still very meticulous. Very good. I approve of you. If Sovereign Blue Lotus doesn't have anything else to say, then I will be leaving, Aubert muttered. Fairy Blue Lotus raised her eyebrows and nodded. You can go back, but I still want to tell you, your clan was destroyed by you. Sovereign, do you insist on getting involved? Why should I? Fairy Blue Lotus shrugged with a smile. I've been a bystander the entire time. Perhaps. I'm a bit biased towards Yi Zichen in private, because I like him a lot, and everything about him makes me very satisfied. However, after you threw this trial out, it became a contest between the two of you. It has nothing to do with me. Then why? You chose the wrong person to work with and made the dumbest decision ever. Fairy Blue Lotus's gaze instantly turned dark. We can turn a blind eye to the battle between Her Majesty and Her Highness. However, the moment you try to kill your companion, you lost the right to be protected, regardless of Yi Zichen's final outcome. You can't hide your actions, Aubert. Have you ever thought about how laughable your predicament is? Actually, you only need to use the heart-questioning proverb to get the answer. Do you think you can get away with it? Oh, perhaps you don't know what the heart-questioning proverb is. Then, what about the reversal of time? You don't know that either? Why did you make such a stupid decision? You killed Dylina in the end. Dylina's family will take revenge on the Ox clan, and the Weapon Alliance will demote you and put you on the wanted list. The Mercenary Alliance is also worried about not having a way to get some money from the Weapon Alliance. You created a perfect reason for them. The Weapon Alliance will lose a large amount of resources because of you. The Artifact Alliance will also resent your decision and vent their anger on your family. Your family will be consigned to eternal damnation. Most importantly, you shouldn't have cooperated with the Ancestral Dragon Clan. You were abandoned by the human race the moment you thought of cooperating with the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Chapter 2898. Aubert's pupils constricted. What does that mean? Cooperating with the ancestral dragon race was equivalent to being abandoned? Impossible. According to his conjecture, all the majesties and majesties here were competitors, even if they were in the same group. Actually, from the start of this trial, everyone who came here was already on the opposite side. Here, you can use any method to attack anyone, including your teammates. From there, the final victor would be decided. This was his understanding. Since that was the case, he could naturally use any means, including any conflicts. Everyone knew about the conflict between the Master of the Galaxy and the Master of Judgment, so what was wrong with using it on Yi Zichen? Why can't I make use of the grudges of the ancestral dragon clan? According to what you just said, I can roughly understand that you are deliberately hiding your strength. Your intelligence is not as low as you showed yesterday. This can be added to the score, but I'm very dissatisfied with the decision you made, especially the method you used to kill Dalina. I'm disgusted. Unscrupulous means are not what you would do. Based on your performance during this period, I sentence you to death. Unqualified. Fairy Blue Lotus's expression was so cold that it made people's hearts go cold. Aubert stared at her for a long time. Let me introduce myself, Fairy Blue Lotus. I'm the examiner for this batch of trial takers. Blue Lotus Fairy smiled and patted Aubert's shoulder. She walked past him and said, "Kid, your life is over." The human octagonal table. The evaluators have sent over their evaluation of Aubert, and the result is a failure. At the octagonal table, the head of the Supremacy Association announced the results of the assessment to everyone. Everyone had seen the evaluation on the screen. "Old man, it's your people." Wenli narrowed her eyes and smiled at the leader of the Weapon Alliance, shrugging slightly. "Your people are really despicable. Kill them." The face of the leader of the Weapon Alliance was dark. The leader of the Mercenary Alliance was also frowning slightly. "Give me an explanation. I repent to everyone here for the foolish actions of our Weapon Alliance's Majesty." The Master of Tool Energy stood up from the octagonal table and pursed his lips. "We are willing to provide the Mercenary Alliance with 300,000 title battle armor sets. Think about how to explain this to His Highness's family." "I will send someone to explain. I've said it before, it's meaningless for them to forcefully draw out the opposition. The ancestral dragon race is on the opposite side, and they need to treat each other as enemies. There will definitely be a huge problem." The head of the Alchemy Guild muttered. "Who was the one who suggested it? Step forward." Wenli frowned slightly, but everyone at the octagonal table remained silent. "Oh, it seems to be me. I'm sorry." Very quickly, Wenli revealed a smile and shrugged her shoulders. "This way, we can better see the character of those children. Isn't this good? In the future, the universe will merge. Don't forget, the situation of the human race is very bad, isn't it? In the future, if we hand over the human race to them, how can I not see clearly? But we deceive the entire human race." The head of the Energy Administration frowned. "Even the venerables and overlords under us are kept in the dark. That's how it should be." Wenli snorted coldly. "The more people who know, the more problems there will be. Isn't that right? It's precisely because we deceived everyone that we were able to see through the intentions of certain races, families, and people. Isn't that right? Poor little brother of mine. Although Aubert's name was removed, he was still captured by the ancestral dragon race. That woman Zhu Ying, she's very narrow-minded. My little brother might suffer." Wenli muttered softly. "This is also part of the test," said the Blue Emperor. "Zhu Ying better not do anything stupid, or I won't let him off. I like Yi Zichen a lot. He's different from that Milky Way guy." Wenli cracked her neck. When Yi Zichen mentioned the Milky Way, everyone's expressions changed. "How are you going to deal with the Titans?" The Blue Emperor changed the subject. "Look at Sanyue." Wenli glanced at Star-Lord Sanyue. "And about the Milky Way Master, express your thoughts." If Yi Zichen knew that Wenli could actually sit at the same octagonal table as Star-Lord Sanyue, what would he think? In any case, he'd already been taken to the Ministry of Public Security. No matter how you looked at it, the pitch-black metal door looked like a human prison cell. There were many small cubicles inside, each of which held numerous prisoners. "Are you going to convict me just like that? You're not even going to interrogate me?" Yi Zichen frowned at Zhu Jio. No matter how he looked at him, he found him to be ridiculously familiar. Only now did he remember. You should be Zhu Yunjie, right? Please put your belongings in this basket. Once the humans come to a decision, we'll let you out, said Zhu with a smile. Zhu chuckled, but he did not deny his identity as Zhu Yunjie. You want to take back my points again? Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes and frowned. Friend, if you really want to take them back, can't you do it openly? Why do you have to resort to such underhanded tricks? Your boss is a hero, isn't he? Why are you acting like a child? Instantly, Zhu Yunjie's eyes flashed with cold light. Yi Zichen felt a chill run down his spine. He shrugged. Fine. I'll stop. Don't hit me. I'm telling you, the people behind me aren't to be messed with either. You are the human race's majesty, so we won't do anything to you, Zhu Yunjie said softly. But if you disrespect the master of judgment one more time, then I will kill you even if it costs my life. The cold voice caused Yi Zichen to feel a chill down his spine. Yi Zichen scratched his head helplessly. I don't dare. Just leave the point stone here. AI, you guys will return it to me when the time comes, right? I'm telling you I recorded it. I have proof. Don't worry. After we receive news from the humans, we will take you away and return everything you put here. Zhu Yunjie said softly. All right. Yi Zichen looked up at Zhu Yunjie, then tossed the point stone into the basket. Please change into your prison uniform. I'm changing right here, so what if we're all men? I'm just worried that you'll be jealous. Yi Zichen snorted, but didn't say anything else. He took off all his clothes in front of the prison guards, changed into the prison uniform, and picked up the basin of toiletries. You're rather familiar with the process. It's all right, Yi Zichen shrugged. Which cell am I in? Take me in. Hurry up and let me get to know my cellmates. I'll fulfill your wish. With that, Zhu Yunjie turned to the prison guard. Take him to the special cell. Chapter 2899. Within the Ancestral Dragon Clan's 7th prison, Yi Zichen, dressed in prison uniform, followed a prison guard into the depths of the prison. In the corridors of the prison, quite a few prisoners could be seen in the cells on both sides. The Ancestral Dragon Clan really knew how to mess things up. They actually threw me into prison. Yi Zichen, who was draped in his prison uniform, was completely convinced. There was no interrogation, not even a formality. They just acted as if they had already confirmed his crimes and sent him to prison. They didn't say a specific time. Yi Zichen guessed that the Ancestral Dragon Clan would only release him when they wanted to. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose. Fortunately, the prison uniform was new. If there were any other odors on it, Yi Zichen really might not have been able to take it. During this time, Yi Zichen roughly calculated the size of their prison. It was probably several 100,000 square meters. They'd already walked a few hundred meters, but they still hadn't reached the special cell Zhu Yunjie had arranged for them. Hey, since they had nothing to do, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and said to the prison guard, Bro, this is great. Bro, that's great. What kind of people are in prison? A rather tall man, who was walking in front, glanced back at Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen could sense a hint of coldness in his eyes. Why do you care so much? I'm about to start my prison life, so I have to find out what kind of people my cellmates are like, right? Yi Zichen shrugged. Look at how soft and tender my skin is. If I go into a cell full of burly men, what if they beat me up? I don't think you'd care even if I did. Huh. The prison guard snorted coldly. Although it wasn't really an answer, it wasn't much different from a non-committal response. They had indeed received orders. They were to detain Yi Zichen. They didn't need to care about anything that happened to him in prison. As long as he didn't die, everything would be fine. We saw the prison guard state. Yi Zichen confirmed that it was pretty much as he'd expected. Bro, say it. Stop trying to get close to us. Who's your bro? Hearing this, the prison guard frowned and angrily rebuked. Don't talk so much. When the time comes, just stay in your cell. TSK. So cold. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh helplessly. It truly is the case of a tiger getting bullied by dogs when he falls. Even a mere prison guard dares to speak to me like that. It's really a little sad. What did you say? The prison guard frowned. What did I say wrong? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and smiled. Do you know who I am? The majesty of the human race's virtual world group, the Milky Way overlord. In the human race, with my status, I have to be at the level of a supreme being. Even supremacy overlords have to be my subordinates. You guys don't know what rank the venerables and overlords are, right? They're the heroes here. They all have to bow and scrape when they see me. Smiling in front of me, whether or not I want to talk to them, depends on my mood. Now, I'm talking to you two lousy prison guards, and you dare to treat me like this? Are you guys really not afraid of me getting out? I'll remember you too. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and said in a threatening tone. The prison guard in front was momentarily stunned. Then, he tilted his head and saw Yi Zichen's arrogant expression, as if he was serious. For some reason, the two of them actually felt a bit afraid. To be honest, they were just two prison guards. Even though they were part of the Ministry of Security, they were still the lowest of the lowest. Normally, they could act like a tyrant in front of normal prisoners. But if they really met some tough people, their identities as prison guards really weren't enough. The current Yi Zichen was an existence that they absolutely could not afford to offend. The two of them had also heard of Yi Zichen's identity in the human race. What's more, even if no one told them, they could still search the virtual network. Capturing him here was probably a grudge between him and the ancestral dragon clan. This sort of contest between the higher-ups was actually the hardest for people at the bottom of the hierarchy like them. If Yi Zichen was really released, he might not be able to touch the heroes above, but it would be very easy for him to deal with two little prison guards. Thinking up to that point, the two prison guards looked at each other. Then they instantly put on apologetic smiles. Milky Way Lord, right? Heh, now you know how to call me Milky Way Lord? Yi Zichen crossed his arms and laughed coldly without any surprise. TSK, it seems like they're afraid of something happening to me. At the end of the day, the ancestral dragon clan didn't handle things perfectly. If they really wanted to make things difficult for Yi Zichen, then they could have just sent two of their trusted aides over to watch over him. Yet, the prison guards still used the same words. What? They were afraid that something would happen to Yi Zichen, and afraid of taking responsibility. They wanted to mess with Yi Zichen, but afraid of taking responsibility. What a joke. But that wasn't important. He just wanted the two prison guards to feel afraid. As long as they were afraid, then Yi Zichen could continue. He was just worried that the two prison guards wouldn't listen to him. Although that wouldn't affect Yi Zichen too much, he wasn't afraid of this prison in the first place. However, stubborn people weren't easy to deal with. Milky Way Lord. The two prison guards smiled coyly. Yi Zichen twisted his neck and raised his eyebrows at them. At least you guys have some brains. Yi Zichen smiled coyly. That's more like it. Although the ancestral dragon clan has a grudge against me, if you really piss me off, then I'll tell my human compatriots to invade your clan. Would they be able to do anything about you then? There's no harm in thinking more about yourself when you're alive. Yi Zichen said sincerely. The two prison guards couldn't help but nod. Lord, you're right. Then can you tell me now? What kind of people are in my prison? Yi Zichen frowned. They're all extremely evil people, the taller prison guard said softly. The taller prison guard said in a low voice, the people you're holding in the special section are all troublesome characters. Many of them have killed a lot of people, committing all sorts of crimes such as burning, killing, and plundering. Even we, the prison guards, rarely go to their side. Is that so? Yi Zichen pursed his lips and nodded. It seemed like everything was pretty much as I expected. That old witch Zuing really did want me to suffer a bit in prison. Yi Zichen was no match for the Master of the Galaxy. She caused the Master of the Galaxy to flee like a rat, unable to leave the ancestral dragon clan. She didn't want to take revenge on the Master of the Galaxy, and instead came to cause trouble for Yi Zichen. Useless. The more Zuing targeted Yi Zichen like this, the more useless she was. Yi Zichen would probably end up in prison. The friendly prison mates all smiled warmly at him, then beat Yi Zichen up first. Taking away his points was also so that they would be on equal footing. Without any points, then the protection of points would naturally be gone. Is there anyone who has just been detained? Yi Zichen asked with a frown. Actually, that was what he wanted to ask the most. Although those people were extremely evil, they weren't of much use to Yi Zichen. In terms of strength, even if he didn't have points, he still had them. Points only provided some convenience. In fact, in some situations, he was relatively stronger without points. If they were all former prisoners, then that meant that they were indeed criminals. That way, Yi Zichen would be able to relax a bit. But if any of them were in recently, then they might have been sent here by Zhu Ying to specifically target Yi Zichen. That would be the worst-case scenario. A new one. The guard pondered for a moment. I think the most recent one was 2 years ago. Actually, very few people come to the special office. That's good. Hearing that, Yi Zichen instantly let out a sigh of relief. Lord of the Galaxy, there are some things that I hope you can understand, the guard smiled. Sending you to the special office was an order from above. Although we know that the special office is dangerous, we can't transfer it for you. How about this? We'll keep people around the special office. If you need anything, or if they want to do anything to you, just call us. We'll go to your place as soon as possible to ensure your safety. Thank you. Yi Zichen nodded. It's good that the two of you are willing, but if you really want me to be well, then how about giving me some points? Points? Yeah. As long as the two of you give me several tens of thousands of points, then they won't be able to touch me. That's even better, isn't it? Chapter 2900. Although Yi Zichen knew that the possibility of getting points from them was very low, he didn't expect the guards to react so strongly. They practically knelt on the ground. They shouted that they definitely couldn't give Yi Zichen points. If they dared to, then the head of the security department, Zhu Yunjiu, definitely wouldn't let them off. The most they could do was to take care of Yi Zichen a bit more while he was in prison. That was a huge risk. Milky Way Lord, please don't make things difficult for us. The tall guard looked like he was about to cry. The tall prison guard looked like he was about to cry. Before you came here, the merit stones had already been taken away. No one here has points. If you had points in prison, the higher-ups would know it was us who did it with just a quick check. We don't want to offend you, but we don't want to offend our leader even more. In the end, the two of them still had to work for the Ancestral Dragon Clan. If the two of them had to choose between Yi Zichen and the Ancestral Dragon Clan, then they would naturally choose the Ancestral Dragon Clan without even thinking about it. That was their route. The only reason they were slightly polite to Yi Zichen was because of their status in the human race. Hey, don't be like that. I was just saying. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw the guard's reaction. There was nothing wrong with their logic. If news of Yi Zichen having points got out that everything was taken away, then the prison guards would definitely be suspicious. All they had to do was investigate, and the two of them would be found out. Yi Zichen didn't want to harm them. The two of them were actually innocent people, and the entire matter had nothing to do with them. What he needed to deal with. Zhu Yunjiu was one of them, and the man who pressed down on his head at the start. F***CK. He had been pressed down like that before. What's more, he wasn't doing it for a mission. He was doing it purely to get on Zhu Yunjiu's good side, or rather, to curry favor with Zhu Ying in order to become their lackey. He was doing it for Yi Zichen. He definitely wouldn't let him off. He definitely had to remember this. The only thing to note was that he had 8 billion points on him at the time. He didn't believe that a mere security guard would have over 10 billion. Why was he able to press Yi Zichen down without triggering the energy barrier? Could the security department have some sort of special authority? If that was the case, it would be very difficult for Wen Li and the rest to attack the Ancestral Dragon Tribe, because the rules here seem to be customized by the Ancestral Dragon Tribe. Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows. Hearing that Yi Zichen was joking, the two prison guards also let out a long sigh and relaxed. Galactic Lord. Anyway, you don't have to worry too much. If you have any problems, just call out to us. We'll also tell our trusted aides to take special care of your place. If there's an opportunity, we'll transfer you to another prison. The tall prison guard smiled. Yi Zichen nodded slightly. Thank you. Then, Galactic Lord, the one in front, is the special one. The tall prison guard raised his hand and pointed at the large black iron door in front of him. There was only a food delivery door and a few gaps exposed by the iron bars. From the outside, the area of the cell was not small, at least several times the size of the other cells. No wonder it's a special brand. Yi Zichen chuckled. The tall prison guard muttered, "Are you going in now? Can I not go in?" Yi Zichen laughed when he saw the two prison guards' awkward expressions. In any case, you'll have to go in sooner or later. Let's go in now, and I'll get to know my fellow inmates. The tall prison guard said nothing, but glanced meaningfully at the short one. Then, the short guard took out a bunch of keys and placed them in the keyhole of the black iron door. Before long, the iron door swung open. Yizichin stood in front of the door and finally saw his adorable roommates. They really didn't look like good people at all. Today, His Majesty, the Milky Way Lord, will be imprisoned here. You'd better be careful. The Milky Way Lord holds an exalted position in the human race. If anything goes wrong, I'll cut off your heads. The tall prison guard threatened, but the people inside seemed to be too lazy to pay him any attention. They didn't even look at him. They just went about their business. Faced with this situation, the prison guard felt somewhat embarrassed. However, he also understood that the people in the special branch were no ordinary people. Although he was a prison guard, he was nothing in their eyes. He didn't try to provoke Yizichin any further. He nodded at Yizichin and said, "Milky Way Lord, I wish you good luck. All right, go do what you need to do." Yizichin waved his hand with a smile, then carried the wash basin into the cell. Accompanied by a loud bang, the iron door was closed. "Come on, it's your turn. Hurry up, don't waste time." There was no end to the noise. This surprised Yizichin. He'd thought that since he'd just arrived, the people here would give him a show of strength and set some rules or something. However, these people acted as if they didn't see him and continued to do what they were supposed to do. A few of them were playing cards together. A few others were lying on the floor, and someone was massaging them. In short, the prison was about 300 square meters. From Yizichin's perspective, it wasn't small. There was a bathroom and a place for bathing. There were 2 layers of beds. It could fit 16 people. There was also a place that looked like a brick bed with 2 blankets on it. That meant only 18 people could live here. But there were about 30 people here. Yizichin scratched his head. Yizichin walked around in front of everyone like he was invisible, but no one came to talk to him. What's going on? Are these people blind? Do they want to use this method to give me a show of strength? Or are they too busy and can't spare any effort? As the saying goes, the first to strike is the strongest. If they don't come to cause trouble, then Yizichin will just give them a show of strength. Then he walked straight to the fireplace in the corner. He threw all of the blankets on it down. No matter how he looked at it, this was the most comfortable place. It was large enough, and it seemed like the boss's place. The moment Yizichin threw the blankets on the brick bed, the entire prison seemed to quiet down. Everyone looked at him. When he sensed their gazes, Yizichin smiled faintly, then laid out his bedding, turned around, smiled at everyone in the cell, and murmured, "You're right. You're not the only one. You guys, who's going to pour me a glass of water?" Chapter 2901. The entire prison cell was as quiet as a cicada in winter. However, their silence didn't seem to be due to Yizichin's words, but rather the bedding on the ground. Yizichin took in everyone's gaze. It seemed like he had found the right person. This was indeed the place where Big Brother lived. His choice was perfect. "Hey, are you guys deaf? Which one of you can give me a glass of water? I haven't had a single sip of water along the way. I'm very thirsty. Who's going to move?" The person in the cell remained silent. At this moment, the bathroom door was suddenly pushed open and a man and a woman walked out. The man's chest was bare, and the woman's cheeks were flushed. What kind of F***ing prison was this? When Yizichin saw this, he was completely dumbfounded. Only then did he notice that there really were quite a few women in the prison. Even those who came to prison had short hair. He also subconsciously thought that there shouldn't be any women in the men's prison, so he didn't think in that direction. Until a woman with long hair walked out of the bathroom. Only then did he realize this. This was too F***ing terrifying. The ancestral dragon race was really not afraid of any accidents happening in the prison, right? However, there was something else that Yizichin cared about. These men actually didn't fight for the position for the women, or it could be said that these women had already been assigned. Or rather, they all belonged to this bare-chested man. He should be the boss here. It could be seen from the eyes of the prisoners in the prison. Then, the bedding that was thrown down belonged to the 2 of them. Brother Xiong. Seeing the bare-chested man walk out, everyone in the prison stood up. Sole discretion. Yizichin pursed his lips and nodded. From the reactions of the other inmates, Yi Zichen could tell that the man called Xionggu was the absolute boss of the prison. In other words, there was no such thing as two kings here. The prison guard had also said those who were in prison here were all capable people. Since he was a capable person, he should at least have some pride. These people were actually able to completely submit to this man's management. It could be seen that this man really had some ability, but for some reason, he felt that the woman behind that man was even scarier, although it was only for a moment. But that was exactly what he felt. In any case, the woman was acting like a little girl now. Her fair and slender fingers covered her red lips in surprise, and her eyes looked at Brother Xiong from time to time, as if she was surprised that someone dared to throw Brother Xiong's quilt away. Brother Xiong frowned and wiped the water droplets off his body with a towel. What the hell? He actually didn't say anything? What was wrong with the people here? I've already flipped your betting, and you're not angry at all? A few minutes later, the long-haired woman helped Brother Xiong dry himself and put on the prisoner's uniform. Newcomer. At this moment, Brother Xiong seemed to be talking to himself. We just took him in. I heard from the stick that this kid is a Milky Way lord of some human race. His Majesty even threatened us not to bully this kid. A sharp-mouthed lackey ran over. Hemp stick? He was probably referring to the tall prison guard. The woman behind Brother Bear also looked towards Yi Zichen. However, he didn't look at her for too long. Just a glance. He's from the human race. Brother Xiong twisted his neck, then took the towel from the woman's hands and wiped his long, wet hair. No wonder he's so cocky. He thinks that he can do whatever he wants in this cell with the protection of the prison guards. Brother Xiong, do you need us? Let's get to know each other. Brother Xiong nodded, causing the sharp-mouthed man to walk over with a few burly men. Are you guys going to pour me water? Yi Zichen muttered. Brat! The sharp-mouthed man glared at him and snorted coldly. Do you know who lives here? This is our Brother Xiong and Sister Nan's place. What does that have to do with me? Yi Zichen shrugged. The prison guards didn't tell me where I'm staying. I think this place is pretty nice, and I can see the scenery outside, so I want to stay here. Is there a problem? Brat, this isn't a place you can live. Rat. Brother Xiong suddenly frowned and roared. Don't scare our new majesty. Don't scare our new majesty. I heard that the human race's majesty has a very high status outside. You know that too. Yi Zichen pushed the sharp-mouthed man away, then stared into Brother Xiong's eyes. If you know, then be obedient, or else I'll kill you. Huh? Brother Xiong instantly smiled, then threw the towel he used to dry his hair onto the floor. How did you get in? Murder. Yi Zichen's gaze turned dark. Ha ha. Everyone in the prison suddenly laughed when they saw Yi Zichen's dark gaze. Brother Xiong, look at this brat. He thinks that murdering people will scare us? The sharp-mouthed man laughed, then squinted his eyes. Brat, you might have a bit of status if you kill people in other cells, but here, killing people is nothing, understand? I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just telling you guys. Yi Zichen was not surprised at all when he heard what the sharp-mouthed man said. He had even used the most ferocious and evil methods. How could there be any good people here? His Majesty of the human race, I'll give you a lot of face. Put the bedding back on, then kneel on the ground for 2 hours. I can pretend like nothing happened. Brother Xiong stretched his neck. Brother Xiong cracked his neck. We're still very humble towards newcomers. If you pour me a glass of water, kneel on the ground, then kneel in front of me for a day and night, I can give you a chance to live. Yi Zichen said coldly. Brother Xiong's expression instantly froze. You won't accept a toast. I'm giving you a chance to redeem yourself. Yi Zichen remained as calm as ever. That includes everyone else here. Whoever pours me this cup of water will be the second brother here from now on. His Majesty of the human race, you sure talk big. Brother Xiong muttered. Yi Zichen shrugged noncommittally. Brother Xiong gave the sharp-mouthed man a meaningful glance. Just a simple lesson. All right. The sharp-mouthed man smiled sinisterly, then twisted his neck and pointed at Yi Zichen. Little bastard, you. Before the sharp-mouthed man could finish, his face contorted in pain as he shouted. Before the others could react, Yi Zichen arrived in front of Brother Xiong like a bolt of lightning, grabbed him by the collar, and smiled coldly at him. Dong! 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 Punches and kicks collided. Brother Xiong, who'd been sitting on the chair like a king just a second ago, fell to the ground in less than half a minute. His body was covered in blood, and his limbs were all shattered. He didn't even resist. Brother Xiong, who'd already been beaten senseless, was tossed into a corner of the cell by Yi Zichen's clothes. Only then did Yi Zichen clap his hands. From now on, I call the shots in this cell. Who agrees? Who objects? Chapter 2902. Who objected? Who the F***CK dared to object? White Bear, the strongest fighter in the prison, was beaten to the ground like a dead dog. He hadn't moved at all since Yi Zichen threw him out. It was unknown whether he was still alive or not. As for his lackeys, they were all lying on the ground. Yi Zichen could tell just how miserable they were. Water for you. At that moment, a fragrance wafted into Yi Zichen's nose. The person with long hair was none other than Big Sis Nan, who had been standing beside White Bear. Please. Yi Zichen looked up at her. He was rather surprised that the person pouring water for him was this woman. He had thought that she was White Bear's woman. When she saw White Bear covered in blood, she might go over to check on the situation. However, she didn't even bother to look at him. Her coldness was chilling. From the looks of it, Yi Zichen's feeling was correct. Compared to White Bear, this woman might be scarier. Yi Zichen caught the water. The woman touched Yi Zichen subtly. Her hand was very smooth. The moment she touched it, Yi Zichen felt his heart itch. He wanted to pull her into his arms and dote on her. However, Yi Zichen wasn't the type of person to think with the lower half of his body. He had his own thoughts. Yi Zichen glanced up at the woman, only to see that she was smiling at him seductively. Fox, Yi Zichen muttered to himself. He had already listed this woman as his #1 enemy in the prison. I poured this cup of water for you. According to what you said, I'm second only to you in the prison from now on, right? The woman smiled gently. Yi Zichen glanced at the cup. Isn't this your cup as well? This is mine. The woman maintained a gentle smile. There was a gentle smile in the woman's eyes. I don't know where your cup is, so I can only use my cup to pour you water. I believe you won't mind, right? The men in the prison all revealed looks of envy. Big Sis Nan was definitely the goddess in the hearts of all the men. That didn't just include this cell. It was the same for the other cells. During the group activities, there were quite a few big brothers who had feelings for Sister Nan and wanted her to go to their cell. As for the cup, that was what Sister Nan usually used. If you were to drink from her cup, wouldn't that be an indirect kiss? If such a wonderful thing happened to them. He could even wake up from his dreams with a smile. What's your name? However, Yi Zichen didn't drink the water. Instead, he gripped the cup in his hand and looked up at the flirtatious woman. Jiang Nan. That does sound like a poetic name, Yi Zichen chuckled. Jiang Nan. How could it not be poetic? Thank you for your compliment. Jiang Nan smiled charmingly. Are you trying to be nice to me now? Yi Zichen swirled the cup in his hand. You seem to be doted on by that big bro Xiong, right? Isn't it a bit too cold to abandon him, just like that? Really? Jiang Nan looked back at White Bear. Since ancient times, women have always relied on men to live a better life. Haven't they? There can only be one king in this cell. He used to be the king here, and I was his subordinate. Now that you've removed him, I'm naturally your subordinate. Not only me, everyone here is the same. Jiang Nan actually said something like that. Yi Zichen was rather surprised, but he was even more certain that this woman wasn't as weak as she said. At the very least, her cold-bloodedness and decisiveness wasn't something a normal person could do. Jiang Nan. At that moment, White Bear, who had collapsed in the corner, pushed himself up with the wall and stood up with his face covered in blood. Perhaps it was because Yi Zichen's fist had been aimed at his head. He still felt a bit dizzy and wasn't particularly clear-headed. Jiang Nan, come here. White Bear reached out his hand towards Jiang Nan. Jiang Nan turned around with a smile. Sorry, I already belong to this Milky Way Lord. With that, Jiang Nan retreated behind Yi Zichen and placed her slender fingers on his shoulder. During that time, Yi Zichen glanced at her hand. Her skin was as smooth as jade. It really was perfectly explained by her body. Her hand was as smooth as white jade. When the light from outside shone in, Yi Zichen could feel the light reflecting off her skin. This kind of skin, Even Su Yin, Xia Kiki, and Blue Lotus Fairy didn't have it. Jiangnan, get back here. White Bear's voice was filled with rage. Blood was still dripping down his chin, but his eyes were already filled with flames of fury. No, White Bear, I already said that I belong to the Milky Way Lord. Once you reclaim your position, then I'll still belong to you. Hey, is it appropriate to say something like that in front of me? Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at her. I believe you. Jiangnan's eyes flashed with a seductive smile. Just looking at her smile made one feel as if their soul was about to be stolen away, and as if they were willing to do anything for her. Charm arts. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes in confusion, but it didn't seem like it. She was probably born with it. Some people were indeed born with this sort of charm. Otherwise, why would people say that beauty was a source of trouble? Jiangnan was one of them. Her existence meant that a victor had to be decided between Yi Zichen and White Bear. Based on the current situation, Yi Zichen was the victor. Human brat, Lousy is going to kill you. White Bear instantly stomped the ground, and his surging aura caused Yi Zichen to raise his eyebrows. He does have some ability. If he was on Earth, he would probably be around the level of a martial artist. Unfortunately, he was still far too lacking in front of Yi Zichen. Dong! White Bear, who was charging towards Yi Zichen, was kicked into the ground, and his entire chest caved in. Everyone in the cell covered their mouths in shock. White Bear coughed up a large mouthful of blood. His gaze was unfocused, and he seemed to be on the verge of death. Jiangnan. Lord. Jiangnan walked over with a smile. Yi Zichen pointed at White Bear in front of him. You truly want to follow me, right? Yes. Then go and kill him. Yi Zichen said coldly. Yi Zichen said softly, I can't let him continue to live in this prison. I won't be able to sleep well at night if he's still alive. You, go and kill him now, then I'll let you follow me. With that, Yi Zichen directly walked in front of the cabinet. He snapped the toothbrush in half with his fingers, then reached out towards Jiangnan with the sharp part. Jiangnan immediately grabbed it when she saw that. She didn't say anything at all. She directly walked in front of White Bear. White Bear, who had already lost consciousness, seemed to want to use his hands to grab her, but was stopped by Jiangnan. Then, a hint of coldness appeared in White Bear's eyes. You lost. Losers don't deserve to live in this world. You said it yourself. The sharp end of the toothbrush stabbed into White Bear's chest. White Bear, who was still panting, instantly opened his eyes wide and looked down at the toothbrush in front of his chest. Don't blame me. You lost. Chapter 2903. The toothbrush stabbed right into White Bear's heart. The instant the toothbrush pierced through White Bear's heart, and his bodily functions began to fade. What a terrifying woman. Yi Zichen had been paying close attention to her every move. Just her calmness and indifference was enough to chill his heart. Most importantly, the moment she made her move, precision. With the fiery eyes of truth of the great sage, Yi Zichen could clearly see that she'd stabbed right into the center of his heart. Furthermore, she'd acted decisively. Think about it. Never mind a woman, even a man would be threatened to kill someone. What kind of state would you be in? Fear? Panic? Even if you made up your mind to kill someone, your hand would definitely tremble. But Jiangnan's hand, so steady that it was hard to believe she was a weak woman who kept saying she could only rely on men. White Bear clutched the toothbrush in his chest as his life slowly ebbed away. In the end, he lost all signs of life and collapsed to the ground, his eyes filled with unwillingness and disbelief. In the end, he died at Jiangnan's hands. He was a dignified man with a wealth of over 100 billion. He'd enjoyed limitless glory in the ancestral dragon clan. This sort of prison was nothing more than a formality. In a few months, he'd be able to leave. But he'd actually died. She was still the same woman who'd spent every day with him, who'd always been so charming and obedient. Everyone in the cell fell silent out of fear. They'd all killed before, but the scene in front of them still terrified them. This terror came from two people. One of them was naturally the newly imprisoned lord of the Milky Way, Yi Zichen. The other person was Jiangnan. Of the two of them, Jiang Nan's strength impressed everyone in the cell. The latter's decisiveness sent chills down their spines. Clearly, just half an hour ago, Jiang Nan and White Bear had been so intimate. Milky Way Lord, I've done as you asked. Are you satisfied? Jiang Nan didn't so much as glance at White Bear. She still had that enchanting smile on her face, as if the person she had just killed wasn't a human, but an animal. Or rather, it was as if she hadn't killed anyone. You're really a scary person. Yi Zichen spoke his mind without hiding anything. How? How could you lower yourself to be beneath him? Galaxy Lord, don't spout nonsense. I'm just a little woman. A trace of fear lingered in Jiang Nan's eyes. You were the one who asked me to do this earlier. I want to survive, so I naturally have to abide by your request. There's no point in doing this. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile, but didn't dwell on the matter at hand. As for White Bear, it didn't matter if he died. He was an unpardonable evil person. Killing him would be a blessing to the people of the ancestral dragon clan. What's more, in Yi Zichen's eyes, the people here were no different from outsiders. Their lives didn't matter to Yi Zichen. Tell the prison guard to take him out, then someone go and clean up the blood on the floor. Yi Zichen pointed at the blood on the floor. As soon as he finished speaking, what's going on? Why is there the smell of blood inside? At this moment, the prison guard's voice came from outside the metal door. A few prison guards instantly pushed the door open. Two of them were the prison guards who had just brought Yi Zichen in. The two of them really did care about taking care of Yi Zichen. In the past, they'd only come once a day. The moment they pushed open the door, they saw White Bear lying in a pool of blood with a toothbrush stuck in his chest. The prison guard hurriedly ran over to touch it. Who did this? Everyone lowered their heads. Jiang Nan pursed her lips and revealed a moving expression, as if she was about to cry. I did it. The prison guards raised their eyebrows. Everyone in the prison raised their eyebrows. They didn't expect Jiang Nan to admit it herself. After all, killing someone in prison was a death sentence. Even if it was a death sentence, it wasn't allowed if someone else killed them. This was because only the prison guards could carry out the executions of prisoners. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then sat by the fire to see what she wanted to do. She'd better be smart. Don't think about betraying Yi Zichen. To be honest, he didn't even care about the people in the prison. It wouldn't be hard for him to force his way out. But if he did that, he might become enemies with the ancestral dragon clan, and they would have a reasonable right to arrest him. For him, the situation might actually be rather disadvantageous. Jiang Nan, why did you kill White Bear? The prison guard asked softly. I don't want to either. At that moment, Jiang Nan was like a soft little woman. She covered her face as tears flowed down her cheeks. White Bear, he wanted to insult me. I struggled with all my might, then pushed him. Then he stepped on my toothbrush and crushed it. Coincidentally, he fell onto the ground and got stuck in the toothbrush. That's F***king possible. That's too fake. No matter how you look at it, it's ridiculous. However, something unexpected happened. The prison guards actually believed it. So that's how it is. All right, stop crying. White Bear deserves his death. We won't blame you for anything. Do you want me to get you a new cell? No need. Jiang Nan bit her lips and shook her head. Jiang Nan bit her lips and shook her head. The other prison mates are very nice to me. I'm used to living here. I might get bullied in other places. We'll transfer you to the women's prison. No need. I'll just stay here. Jiang Nan shook her head as she sobbed. Jiang Nan sobbed, shook her head, and whispered that, I want to ask, will my sentence be increased if he dies? Don't worry, we'll tell the higher-ups. The prison guard looked at Jiang Nan with a kind smile and immediately grabbed White Bear and dragged him out of the prison. Clean the prison's blood yourselves. For the last time in my life, although this prison is a shared prison, whoever dares to bully the women in the prison will be sentenced to death. Do you understand? Yes. The prison personnel all nodded in agreement. The moment the large iron door was closed, the tears on Jiang Nan's face disappeared like smoke in thin air. Everyone else also looked at everything in confusion. She's actually fine. Yi Zichen watched silently, then raised his eyebrows and pointed at the blood on the ground. You guys go and clean it up. Yes, big bro. Everyone in the prison nodded towards Yi Zichen, then ran over to clean up the blood. At that moment, Jiangnan returned to Yi Zichen's side. Milky Way Lord, don't you owe me a favor? Woman. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at her. What do you want? Bring me out of prison. Chapter 2904. Get out of prison? Yi Zichen was rather surprised by Jiangnan's request. I've only been in prison for a short while, but Jiangnan actually thinks that Yi Zichen has the ability to take me out. As long as you can take me out, everything I have belongs to you, no matter if it's me or the wealth I possess. It's all yours. Jiangnan leaned over and whispered into Yi Zichen's ear. From the perspective of an outsider, it seemed like they were flirting. Only the people involved knew they were talking about business. It seems like you aren't going to continue pretending, Yi Zichen muttered softly. I never pretended to be anything. However, Jiang Nan didn't agree with Yi Zichen's concept of pretending. From the very beginning, I've been telling the truth. I believe that women should stay close to men. That's what I truly believe. What's more, that's the truth. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to get out. Jiang Nan's reply was very calm. Hey, did you know? I actually kind of believe what you said. Yi Zichen said something that even he found hard to believe when he heard Jiang Nan's words. He felt sincerity from Jiang Nan's tone. I never lied to you. Jiang Nan leaned over and whispered into Yi Zichen's ear. Jiang Nan whispered beside Yi Zichen's ear. This is my request. How about it? Can you do it? If I'm not wrong, what I did just now does make you owe me a favor. That's right. I do owe you a favor. Actually, Yi Zichen could say that Jiang Nan was being too full of herself. But as a human, it was better to be more sincere. If Jiang Nan exposed that Yi Zichen told her to kill someone, then the ancestral dragon clan would have a reasonable reason to punish him. Death. That shouldn't be the case. Some physical pain was unavoidable. What's more, from the looks of the prison guards just now, Jiang Nan definitely had the ability to make them believe everything she said. Why did the prison guards believe you? Them. Jiang Nan snorted disdainfully. They didn't believe me. Actually, no matter what I said at the time, they didn't care too much. The real reason they didn't care was because of the points White Bear had. Points? That's right. They should have taken away all of your points when you came in, right? Yes. Everyone here is the same, and the points are naturally managed by the people in the prison. Jiang Nan whispered. In this prison, prison guards can't kill people at will, and the same goes for other people. However, when there was a certain reason, even if it was very far-fetched, killing someone was no big deal. My reason just now actually had many loopholes, but they wouldn't mind. This was because once White Bear died, his points would become ownerless. At this time, the people in the prison could freely distribute them. White Bear also has a lot of points. He has hundreds of billions. 100 billion. Yi Zichen couldn't help but gasp. When he first came to this prison, there were about 500 people working there at most. Of course, there must be a lot of people here that he didn't see, and there were also staff on duty. There were probably more than 2,000 people working here. Even if White Bear only had 100 billion, they would also be allocated 50 million points per person, which was way too easy to obtain. These prison guards sure are rich. They're actually just small heads. The big head is the head of the public security department, Zhu Yunjiu. The prison guards can probably only receive a few million, but that's still a lot of money. Of course, they'll make a hasty decision because it'll be a waste of time if they really do a detailed investigation, and the points will have to be confiscated. Jiang Nan explained as if she was very familiar with the system. I see. Yi Zichen nodded. You believe what I said? Jiang Nan raised her eyebrows in surprise. I thought you would ask me, if that's the case, why don't they just get someone to slaughter this prison? I'm not that stupid. Yi Zichen glanced at Jiang Nan. One death can be dealt with coldly, but if too many people die in the prison, then the prison guards won't be able to handle it. When that happens, Zhu Yunjiu wouldn't be their backer either. Your holiness of the human race is truly quick-witted, Jiang Nan praised with a smile. Jiang Nan praised with a smile, but this kind of praise gave Yi Zichen a feeling of mockery. Actually, it's not that quick. It's probably because the people here are too stubborn, which is why they are smarter than the experts of the human universe. You relied on White Bear in order to get out? Yes. Jiang Nan nodded honestly. He said that he would contact his subordinates to break the prison and then bring me out as well. However, breaking a prison is too dangerous, so I was actually rather against it. But in order to get out, I chose to agree. You chose me after I came because you felt that there's a higher chance of me bringing you out. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Yes. Jiangnan nodded. You are Her Majesty of a human race, so you have a certain amount of authority in the ancestral dragon clan. No matter what reason you came in here, you'll be able to get out in the end. And with your background, if you say that you want to bring me out, the ancestral dragon clan might agree. And if they don't, then I'll find another opportunity. Jiang Nan's reply was very decisive. Jiang Nan's answer was still very decisive. How about it? It's a good deal, right? If I can get out, I'll give you everything I have. If I can't, I can give you 20% of my wealth. All you have to do is say, take me with you. You won't lose anything regardless of whether I succeed or not. How many points do you have? More than 10 trillion. Jiang Nan said an absolutely ridiculous number. Of course, these points aren't liquid assets. They are merely assets I own. You don't need to doubt whether or not you can get them. I, Jiang Nan, have always been fair and just. Even if I don't get out, I can give you a token. Then you can go find the person I asked you to find. He will give you the points or assets. 10 trillion? How did you get caught and brought here? The ancestral dragon clan doesn't need a reason to capture people. There's actually no reason for me to be locked up here, but my mother actually wanted to put me here. Your mother? Yi Zichen couldn't understand Jiang Nan at all. Her mother threw her daughter into this prison? Yes, but I understand my mother's actions. You understand? My mother did this to protect me. She was afraid that I would get hurt outside. What do you mean? My father is a master of justice. Wait a moment. Yi Zichen, who was sitting on the stove, instantly lost his cool and grabbed Jiang Nan's wrist. What did you just say? Your father is a hero. Yes. Then why did you come in? Because my father was killed. Jiang Nan's eyes were filled with hatred. Hatred surfaced in Jiang Nan's eyes. Hearing that, Yi Zichen also frowned. Then you went out to kill the person who killed my father. Who? Sin. Chapter 2905. Shocked? Jiang Nan was actually the Lord of Justice's daughter. Yi Zichen would definitely be lying if he said he wasn't shocked at all. A hero. There were only a few of them in the entire ancestral dragon clan. The chances of meeting the Lord of Justice's daughter in this prison were minuscule. If I'm not mistaken, Sin should be a hero as well. This hero killed her father, the Lord of Justice, and was probably doing the same to the Lord of Justice's family. That's why her mother put her in prison. She probably made this choice because even the Lord of Sin couldn't easily step into this prison. But the problem was, your father was the Lord of Justice, so he should be one of the strongest in the ancestral dragon clan. Why did he die to Sin? Yi Zichen frowned. Do you know about the power of faith? I do. He'd heard about the power of faith back in the immortal realm. The faith of all living beings could be gathered into power. The higher the power of faith, the stronger the power of faith, the stronger the person would be. Jiang Nan seemed rather surprised. Yi Zichen nodded, but she didn't say anything else. The heroes of the ancestral dragon clan are actually the power of faith. Everyone wants to have the power of judgment, so the power of judgment becomes the leader of the ancestral dragon clan. When the clansmen harbor evil thoughts, the Lord of Sin will receive the power of faith. When a person harbors righteousness, the Lord of Justice will receive the power of justice. That way, when a person is extremely just, justice will possess the power of faith. Yi Zichen nodded as he listened to Jiang Nan's explanation. He understood all of this. In fact, he more or less understood why his father died to Sin, because there were far too few people in this world who could truly be just. Or rather, there were almost none. If no one could be absolutely just, then they naturally couldn't believe in justice. Justice and fairness were two completely different things. People could be full of a sense of justice and integrity, but when it came to making decisions, even righteous people would make biased decisions. For example, killing one person to save 10,000. That person might not have done anything wrong. If he was just, then he should have survived. But a righteous person might kill one person for the sake of saving 10,000. Where is justice? And that was for a righteous person. If a person harbored evil thoughts, then justice had nothing to do with it. And in this world, everyone would feel sinful. Thus, the power of faith of the Master of Justice was naturally pitifully small. As I thought, Jiangnan's answer was exactly as Yi Zichen expected. Nowadays, there are very few people who believe in justice. More people yearn for power, wealth, and status. In order to obtain these, many will do anything. The power of faith of the sinful Lord is steadily increasing. Right now, he is already showing signs of becoming the second hero of the Ancestral Dragon Clan. That's right, the Ancestral Dragon Clan's second in rank is the Lord of Justice, and the first is Judge. Due to the thinness of the power of faith, Father is no match for sin. Don't you think it's funny? They were obviously from the righteous side, but they were actually killed by the evil side. My father always said that if the Ancestral Dragon Clan continues on like this, they would no longer need a hero like Gongzheng. The higher the Tao, the higher the devil. Exactly. Jiangnan's eyes were filled with bitterness. Yi Zichen couldn't help but be moved when he saw her sorrowful expression. He could understand how she was feeling right now. If nothing else, the pain of losing one's father was hard to understand and accept. To be honest, I don't recommend you go out. If even your father, the Master of Justice, is unable to fight against evil, then you are just seeking death. I must go. Jiangnan's expression was filled with determination. I reckon that my mother has already been murdered. As their daughter, I need to do what I have to do. What should I do? Yi Zichen laughed inexplicably. You're going to die? It wasn't easy for your mother to send you here. You're going to die? Then, in order to get out, she would do anything, even selling her body? Jiangnan, you are the daughter of the Master of Justice. Don't you feel that you are becoming a bit unscrupulous? What did I betray? Jiangnan frowned. Just now, when you and White Bear came out from inside, I saw it clearly. Oh, is that what you care about? Jiangnan laughed for some reason, then looked towards Yi Zichen with a hint of ridicule. You even have this kind of plot? You think I'm dirty? Before Yi Zichen could speak, Jiangnan whispered, Don't worry about that. I have a bottom line when it comes to seeking convenience for myself. I merely went in to wipe his back. If you need me in one piece, then I'm still in one piece. As long as you can take me out, you can take me away at any time. I won't resist, and I can even cooperate with you. I didn't think of that. Yi Zichen frowned. He merely wanted to say that what Jiangnan was doing was wrong. Why did she have to say that? No worries, I understand and accept it. Jiangnan ignored Yi Zichen's explanation. Jiangnan didn't mind Yi Zichen's explanation. It's normal for a man to care about these things. I've said it before, women still have to rely on men. You don't need to explain anything to me. I'll give you whatever you want. I also said it just now, as long as I can get out, I'll be yours, and the wealth will be yours. It's all yours. Yi Zichen felt like the problem was heading in a strange direction. Yi Zichen sighed. He looked at Jiangnan, who seemed to have confirmed that Yi Zichen had the possibility of taking her out. Perhaps I'm going to disappoint you. What are you dissatisfied with? Jiangnan frowned. I can sleep with you for the next few days and do my best to satisfy your needs. Of course, you have to wait for me to get out. That's my bottom line. Oh, I've never done it for White Bear before. That's not what I'm talking about. Can you not bring it up? Yi Zichen's expression suddenly turned slightly displeased. I'm not as despicable as you think. What's more, I already have a family. I said I'm going to disappoint you because I came here because your Master of Judgment locked me in. Do you understand? The Master of Judgment, Zhu Ying, got me in here. The Master of Judgment. Jiangnan furrowed her brows and muttered. She wants to get back at you for the humiliation the Master of the Galaxy gave her? What a lowly method. You know, Yi Zichen shrugged with a wry smile. Right now, I'm like a clay bodhisattva that can't even protect myself. I might not have the fortune to enjoy what you said. Chapter 2906. Some things were better to be said clearly. Yi Zichen never thought of getting anything from Jiangnan. He didn't know if the stronger a person was, the stronger their desires would be. Either way, he wasn't too interested in that. If he could get out, he might try to bring Jiangnan out as well. It wasn't for anything else, It was for her points and properties, as well as for her partner. Her goal was the hero of the ancestral dragon clan. Yi Zichen was the same. If the two of them could work together, then Jiangnan would be a decent partner. That's right. He believed Jiangnan's words. Some people's words exuded trustworthy sincerity from beginning to end. Jiangnan was like that. Her desperation wasn't fake. At the very least, Yi Zichen wasn't able to tell that she was faking anything. Jiangnan probably wouldn't bother him anymore after knowing that he was imprisoned by the Master of Judgment. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then laid down on the brick bed. As expected, Jiangnan froze on the spot when she received the news, as if she was unable to digest what Yi Zichen had said in a short period of time. The Master of Judgment had imprisoned her. Getting out was even harder than ascending to the heavens. Ding dong. At that moment, Yi Zichen suddenly received a message in the virtual network. Oh yeah, only then did Yi Zichen react. His optical computer was still there. Bailey, enter the virtual network. Enter the virtual network in this place. Bailey, who fused into Yi Zichen's brain, muttered, "A portion of your consciousness must be in the network when entering the virtual network. The place you are in right now isn't a good place. Don't worry. Even the people in the prison wouldn't dare to act recklessly after they saw how Yi Zichen treated White Bear with their own eyes. Nobody wanted to become the next White Bear. For the sake of their own lives, it was better for them to stop. In the end, the optical computer Bailey was only there to give suggestions. The decision-making was still in Yi Zichen's hands. After receiving a confirmation, Yi Zichen entered the virtual network. As expected, the person who sent the message was Su Yan. Yi Su Yan, I'm fine right now. No need to worry. Yi Zichen immediately replied. Very quickly, he received a video call invitation. Performing a virtual projection would definitely be noticed by the people here. If the people of the Ancestral Dragon Clan found out about this, they might even take back his optical computer. If that happened, his connection with Su Yin and the others would be cut off. After he clicked reject, Su Yin sent him another message. Is it inconvenient? It is indeed inconvenient. Has Fairy Blue Lotus returned? She knows my current situation. Yi Zichen replied. I'm back. Meng Luo, Hua Jinro, and the others all said that they wanted to find people from the clan to deal with it, but they were stopped by Fairy Blue Lotus. Tell them not to mess around. Yi Zichen frowned. The Ancestral Dragon Clan has a reasonable reason to capture me. What's more, I'm in a very safe situation right now. There's no need for the family to intervene. Did you really kill someone? Definitely not. It's probably because that Zhuing wants to use this to frame me. It's a very low-level method. I will think of a way to get out. Listen to Fairy Blue Lotus's arrangements during this period of time and wait for me to get out. The side that Fairy Blue Lotus revealed before she was captured, and her words caused Yi Zichen to see a completely new Fairy Blue Lotus. She definitely isn't as simple as she seems. Perhaps it was because of the first impression that they had, Yi Zichen forgot that she was a sovereign. Someone who could become a sovereign. It was clear that she wasn't easy to deal with. With Fairy Blue Lotus taking charge of the situation, Yi Zichen was able to calm down Meng Luo and company as well. Su Yan and company could completely relax. It was mainly because of Meng Luo, Hua Jinro and company. Although they were all generals, they were still rather impulsive due to the protection of their families. Su Yan, Kiki, and Liu Erjia were all people who had experienced too many big and small things, so they would naturally be worried. However, they knew when to stop and when to stop. All right, Su Yan replied directly. Ask Fairy Blue Lotus if you have any questions. It's not convenient for me to tell you too much on the virtual network. Just remember that I'm safe. I will be able to get out soon. When Li Jie and company won't just watch me suffer here. Understood. After exiting the virtual network, Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows and wondered whether he should send Wen Lijie a message or not. Then he thought about it. Since he was the one who took the blame, Wen Li should know about it as well. The reason why she didn't contact Yi Zichen was probably because she was already planning something or waiting for Yi Zichen to deal with it. No matter what, the fact that Wen Li didn't contact him was a signal. He shouldn't casually contact Wen Li at a time like this. That was how he needed to get out of here. Yi Zichen thought about it for a moment. Thus, he didn't continue to think about it. It had only been a few hours since it happened. It was too naive of him to think about getting out right after entering. Regardless of whether it was when Li's plan or something else, he had to wait. Even if he had to leave by himself, he had to understand this prison properly. Suddenly, Yi Zichen smelled a fragrance beside him. Jiangnan. Yi Zichen tilted his head and saw that it was Jiangnan, who was arranging the bedding beside him. "What are you doing?" "I'm sleeping here," Jiangnan said softly. Jiangnan asked softly. "Otherwise, I wouldn't have a place to stay. Those beds are all taken. You can't just make me sleep on the floor, right? Then move over to the side. Isn't it good to be next to you?" Jiangnan smiled. "That's the only way to show that I do belong to you. I don't need all of this." "I do," Jiangnan said softly. "I don't have your power. If I don't want to be bullied, I can only do this. Just treat it as helping me, okay? Of course, the services I mentioned still count." "Girl, did you not understand what I said?" Yi Zichen frowned. "I was detained by the Master of Judgment. I don't have the ability to take you out, and I'm in a very difficult situation right now." "The Master of Judgment detained you here," Jiangnan muttered softly. Jiangnan murmured softly. Then, an inexplicable smile appeared on her face. "Doesn't that mean that you do have to take me out?" Yi Zichen was surprised by the unexpected reply. He raised his eyebrows and looked at Jiangnan. "Aren't our goals pretty much the same?" Jiangnan pursed her lips and smiled. "What do you mean? You're the judge, I'm the sin. They are both heroes, and they are a faction. It's very hard to find someone in the ancestral dragon clan who understands heroes better than me. We can work together." Chapter 29:07. Jiangnan was indeed a smart woman. She was able to clearly understand her position and situation. She was also clear about what she wanted and what price she had to pay for it. For example, when she said she wanted to rely on Yi Zichen, she knew that after losing her points, she no longer had any special abilities. In this prison full of tigers, leopards, jackals, and wolves, she relied on the powerful Yi Zichen to seek protection. She did this to ensure that she wouldn't get hurt. She was decisive enough. She knew that she could make a clear judgment before making a decision. That was her advantage. But there was one thing: she was too decisive. Yi Zichen seriously suspected that if she could find a stronger backer, she would abandon him without hesitation. If that was the case, then it would be fine. There was no need for any psychological burden. The two of them only cooperated on the basis of benefits. There was no need for any personal feelings to be involved. They were purely using each other. In the following days, Yi Zichen's life in prison was rather comfortable. That night, he was worried that the people in the prison would take advantage of the night to attack him. In the end, it turned out that he was overthinking things. They all behaved themselves. Perhaps White Bear's death really was a huge deterrent to them. It was just as Jiangnan had said, the people in this prison all had a certain amount of strength on the outside. They would also worry about what to do if something happened to him, what to do with his assets outside. They treated Yi Zichen as if he were the boss of this place. They meant what they said. Those who had once been White Bear's hindrances had seamlessly become his subordinates. Flattery was an expert at flattery. If it weren't for the fact that Yi Zichen had some self-awareness, they might have even praised him to the skies. The only small accident that night was that Jiangnan wasn't particularly well behaved. Everything else was fine. During his time in prison, Yi Zichen didn't idle around. He played cards with the people in the prison. Points. The more, the better. "Boss, sorry, leopard." The pointy-mouthed man knocked the card in his hand onto the table. It was leopard 4. The other people at the table all threw their cards down. It didn't matter how big their cards were. They definitely weren't as big as leopard. Sorry, everyone," the pointy-mouthed man grinned. The pointy-mouthed man who threw down the cards grinned. "This place belongs to me." Quite a few other cards were scattered on the table. Their names were written on it. Every single card was worth 5 million, which was what Yi Zichen had said. On these cards, when he went out, he could just look for the other party's people outside to get it. To put it bluntly, it was a game of sincerity. If the people outside refused to give it to him, then there was nothing he could do. However, none of the people here were easy to deal with. If he didn't give it to them, it wouldn't end well. Speaking of which, it was strange that these people in prison could afford to play. From the looks of it, they were indeed well off on the outside. There were about 100 cards on the table. That was about 500 million yuan. This was not a small matter. There had not been such a big fight in the past few days. Put it down. At that very moment, Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and pressed down on his mouth. Boss, don't be a sore loser. Pointy Mouth grinned. These points are probably nothing to you, boss. You've won quite a bit during this period. Howsy, do you think our Milky Way is inferior to you? Zhang Nan's mouth twitched, and Howsy couldn't help but be startled. Sister Nan? Could it be that boss has a bigger hand? You really hit the nail on the head. Yi Zichen chucked the cards onto the table. His card was Leopard 7. Howsy was stunned when he saw the result. He flipped the cards over and over for half a minute. That's not right. He was the one who dealt the cards this round. In order to win back all the money he had lost, he intentionally dealt everyone at the table the same color, straight, and just as Leopard 7. He considered Yi Zichen's identity. He should have dealt extremely small scattered cards in order to get Yi Zichen out of this whirlpool earlier. Now, he actually... Boss you, what do you want to say? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. Howsy resisted for a moment, then swallowed the words he was about to say. He couldn't say that he cheated just now. He didn't deal those cards, right? He looked at Yi Zichen silently for a long time, then let out a deep sigh. I didn't expect the Milky Way Lord to know these as well. Howsy, I'll take it as your tuition fee. Yi Zichen put away the cards on the table with his name on them. This time, I'll be able to win around 400 million. Yi Zichen stretched lazily, then walked away from the table with his neck twisted. Boss, you're not playing anymore? You guys play, it's a bit tiring sitting down. Yi Zichen stretched his neck, then laid down on the blanket that was laid on the floor. Jiang then also walked over to massage him. Come, let's continue playing. Howsy didn't care about what other people thought. Now that Yi Zichen left, he could do whatever he wanted. To be honest, Yi Zichen didn't think that prison life could be so comfortable. There was no one to discipline him, and there were all sorts of entertainment facilities in the cell. He could even get massages when he was tired. Apart from staying in there and not being able to go out, Yi Zichen felt a bit suffocated. Everything else was pretty good. The food was also good. Jiang Nan, what is it? Could it be that this prison is always locked up and no one is allowed to go out? No. Jiang Nan pressed down on Yi Zichen's shoulder and said softly, we can go out any time. It's just that no one chooses to. Why? We'll be stopped by those prison guards if we go out. Howsy muttered as he held the cards. Howsy muttered as he held the cards in his hand. Actually, going out is just going shopping. The facilities in this prison, the cards and whatnot, are all bought from the prison guards. It's so expensive. What's more, they would openly ask for benefits from us, so unless it's really necessary, I don't really want anyone to go out. Yeah, going out is calculated by time, 10,000 points per minute, it's so damn expensive. The most important thing is the bullying from the other cells. A short-haired woman in the prison frowned. A short-haired woman in the prison frowned. White Bear used to have a conflict with someone from the outside. After that, the other party contacted the bosses of several prison cells. After White Bear found out, he never went out again. Then, all of us took the blame for the trouble he caused. If we go out, we'll get beaten up, so no one goes out. The prison guards don't care about beating people up. Yi Zichen frowned. They don't care about that. It's best if we beat them to death. Then, they can swallow our points. Another person in the prison muttered. What's more, the people in the cells outside will steal our points. We can steal points? Of course. If you don't want to get beaten up, then pay the toll. If you don't, then you'll get beaten up until you give it up. That's why they pretty much directly give it up. You guys didn't think about stealing it back. Yi Zichen frowned. Even White Bear doesn't dare to go out. How are we supposed to? All of a sudden, Yi Zichen smiled and looked at his brothers and sisters in the prison. Simon, I'll take you guys to do a team building. Chapter 2908. Fight for points. Yi Zichen loved this sort of thing the most. Unfortunately, this prison did not have jurisdiction over such matters. Listening to the tone of the other people in the cell, it seemed that snatching points from each other was a tacit agreement. Since that was the case, what was there to hesitate about? Just snatch it. You should have said so earlier. Yi Zichen sat up and stretched his neck with a frown. If we said that earlier, then all of the prison's points would have been ours. Boss, your words. Rat, who was playing cards, threw away his cards and came over. His eyes flashed with a dazzling light. He had been in prison for quite a long time. Before White Bear came, he was already in this prison. The longer he stayed there, the higher his spending was, and the higher the number of points that he had snatched. It couldn't be helped. Snatching points had been a thing for a long time. Before White Bear clashed with the other prison leaders, this phenomenon had already existed. White Bear only made the other party target him even more. Have you all been robbed before? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows as he looked at his cellmate. Everyone nodded, except for Jiang Nan. I haven't. Jiang Nan gently spread her hands. Perhaps she had only been here for a short period of time, or perhaps her beauty and figure ensured her safety in this prison. The bosses of the prison cells all coveted her. Naturally, he wouldn't let his subordinates snatch her away. Unfortunately, from Yi Zichen's point of view, this was very stupid. There was no use in being a bootlicker. If it were him, he would definitely ask his men to keep an eye on Jiang Nan and snatch her away. He would snatch her away until she didn't dare to go out. He would snatch her away until she had nightmares at night. This was the only way to make a beauty remember him. Otherwise, with so many bootlickers in the world, there would be a certain degree of bias towards beautiful women. She was already used to all of this and was used to it. She would never remember those who had let her go. You don't count. Yi Zichen glanced at her, then raised his eyebrows at the other people in the prison. Do you guys want to get your points back? Yes. Was there a need to ask such a question? Anyone who said they didn't want to think about it would be a fool. After being robbed so many times, they naturally wanted to rob others as well. Boss, there are a lot of people who can fight outside our prison. Last time, White Bear had a quarrel with those bosses, causing our prison to become the target of public criticism. If you really go out, you'll be facing a group of people, at least half of the prison. Rat cautiously reminded. He knew that Yi Zichen could fight. This could be seen from White Bear's miserable state. What's more, he had experienced it himself. Yi Zichen's strength was definitely several levels above his. But 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. It wasn't that he was particularly loyal to Yi Zichen. Right now, everyone in the prison was loyal to Yi Zichen purely because of his strength. Furthermore, they had no other choice. Not satisfied? If you're not convinced, I'll beat you until you're convinced. Exclude you in prison, let you live a life worse than pigs and dogs. For their own survival, it was inevitable for them to lower their heads to Yi Zichen. He reminded Yi Zichen purely out of consideration for his own interests. If Yi Zichen is no match for those people, then wouldn't they all suffer as well? Actually, Yi Zichen was very clear in his heart. He knew that although these people called him boss on the surface, they were actually thinking for him. Rat's kind reminder was also to get an answer before making a decision. He didn't care. He didn't want to take these people under him. Are you doubting my strength? No. Rat was the first to shake his head. We're just a bit worried. If you believe me, then follow me. If you don't, then it's fine if you quit, Yi Zichen shrugged. I won't force any of you. Everyone in the prison revealed a bitter expression. Since Yi Zichen said it like that, how could they not follow? If anyone didn't, then how would they survive in the prison? Even if everyone objected and Yi Zichen was the only one who insisted, there was nothing they could do. What's more, they would definitely be beaten up in the prison. In any case, even if everyone in the prison was added together, they might not be Yi Zichen's match. Boss, tell us what to do. Rat let out a deep sigh. In this cell, apart from Yi Zichen and Jiang Nan, Rat was the one with more authority. Everyone else is joining? Yes. None of them shook their heads, and their gazes were filled with determination. All right, you guys will definitely feel lucky for your decision. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and licked his lips. This prison's points are ours. Gulp. When they heard this, no matter who it was, they couldn't help but gulp. The entire prison. In their prison, there were tens of thousands of people imprisoned. Even if each of them only had several 100,000 points, it was still a huge amount of wealth. What's more, there were plenty of people with several 100 million, several billion, several tens of billions. Just this one sentence ignited everyone in the prison cell. "Boss, what do you want to do?" Rat muttered. Yi Zichen licked his lips. "I need 2 warriors to lead the way before the team building." "What do you mean?" "I need 2 people to scout around and see who exactly is outside, then come back and report to me." Yi Zichen twisted his neck. "It's best if this person is more familiar with this prison, knows the people clearly, and knows their approximate wealth." Inexplicably, everyone turned to look at Rat. Mouse, who was squatting on the ground, couldn't help but smile bitterly. Wasn't that referring to him? "Boss, can I ask why you're doing this?" From Rat's point of view, it would be safer if everyone moved together. If he went out alone, he would definitely be robbed. Moreover, they would be robbed more than once. "No," Yi Zichen shook his head. "However, the people who go out can enjoy certain benefits. You can get 5% of the points you snatch, and 2% for the others." There were 33 prisoners in the prison. Apart from the people who'd left, the other 30 people got 60%. As for the remaining 30%, it naturally went to Yi Zichen. In terms of distribution, it was actually quite reasonable. If it wasn't for Yi Zichen, they might not even get 2%. 5%. Rat frowned, then looked up at Yi Zichen with a questioning gaze. "Boss, are you really going to rob the entire prison?" "You can't say that. At the very least, I'll definitely rob those who aren't on good terms with us." Yi Zichen chuckled. F***CK. Rat clenched his fist. I've decided to take a gamble." Chapter 2909. Within the special cell, Rat banged on the large iron gate, and beside him was a woman with short hair and gold-rimmed glasses. If it wasn't for her standing out and choosing to walk with Rat, Yi Zichen might not have even noticed her. Her presence was ridiculously low before. However, the moment she stood in front of the door, Yi Zichen felt a sharp aura from her. "This is a businesswoman," Yi Zichen muttered softly. Yi Zichen murmured softly. He couldn't help but feel impressed. It was clear that she didn't gain this sort of aura overnight. It was something that needed to be accumulated over time. After a long time, this sort of aura would uncontrollably be released, causing her to attract attention no matter where she was. However, during the time that she was in the cell, she was actually able to keep herself in a transparent state to protect herself. As I thought, only normal people are able to come to this prison. "Open the door! Open the door!" Rat slammed the large iron door of the prison cell with all his might. After slamming for a full half a minute, a few prison guards finally arrived. Seriously, with their efficiency, if something happened to the cell, they would have already been dead by the time they arrived. Even so, this was all arranged by the prison guards from before. Otherwise, someone might have only arrived after half an hour. What happened? The prison guard who pushed open the metal door frowned. Yi Zichen was actually very confused. Why did they directly open the door every time they came in? Were they not afraid of the people in the cell running out? But then again, perhaps the prison guards all have some sort of special ability. When they captured Yi Zichen, the person had ignored Yi Zichen's points and pressed him onto the table. What's more, the people that came here all seem to have several billion or tens of billions, while White Bear had over 100 billion people. The fact that Yi Zichen was able to get here meant that the people in this prison did have some ability. "I want to buy it and buy it." Rat stretched out his hand. "Bring us the point stones." "Wait." The prison guard closed the iron gate. About 2 minutes later, he returned with Rat and Duan Rong's contribution stones. The two of them subconsciously activated them. Only then did Yi Zichen notice that Rat actually had 27 billion points, while Duan Rong had 19 billion. They should have confirmed the points. The two of them nodded, then turned around to look at Yi Zichen before leaving the cell. "So many points," Yi Zichen murmured softly. He thought a few billion was already quite a lot. Who would have thought that any random person in this prison cell would be worth tens of billions? "I've already said that those who come here are not simple people," Jiangmin muttered. "Why were they caught when they had so many points?" "His background is not clean." Jiangmin shrugged and smiled. "If you want to obtain wealth, not many people have clean points. Of course, those at the bottom of society did not count. Even if you have more than 50 million in assets, you probably didn't earn it by abiding by the law. You too? Yes. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and looked at her for a long time when he heard Jiang Nan's answer without any hesitation. What? If they can, why can't I? Jiang Nan said. There is a fundamental difference between you and them. Yi Zichen frowned. You are the daughter of the Lord of Justice. If you believe in justice, shouldn't you behave yourself? I've always believed in justice. Then you. I believe in what I think is justice. Jiang Nan squinted her eyes and smiled. Jiang Nan squinted her eyes and smiled. I think that all the decisions I make are fair. Everything I do is fair. I don't care what other people think as long as I think that way. That's fine. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a wry smile. What's the difference between that and being unreasonable? Do you think that I'm being unreasonable? Aren't you? But do you believe me? My father can sense the power of faith that you're twisting words and forcing logic on him. Jiang Nan's eyes revealed a smile. Yi Zichen was stunned for a moment when he heard that. Power of faith. You can obtain power of faith from that. Yi Zichen instantly revealed an expression of understanding. So that's how it is. Justice. There is no such thing as absolute justice, only relative justice. Perhaps what you believe to be justice is biased in the eyes of others. That was because everyone looked at the problem from different angles, different situations, and different identities, which led to the birth of such a phenomenon. Thus, absolute justice does not exist. The only thing that exists is relative justice. As long as you believe that what you're doing is fair, then that's enough. You can obtain power of faith from being fair. However, there are very few people in this world who can truly believe that everything they do is fair like Jiang Nan. Many people actually believe that his decisions are unfair. They are unable to lie to their own hearts. So the Lord of Justice is unable to obtain their power of faith. It's pretty hard to do what you did. Yi Zichen shrugged. It's all right. It's fine as long as I have a clear conscience, Jiang Nan replied very casually. Jiang Nan's reply was very casual. As long as you have a clear conscience, you can treat everything as fair and just. That's true. Yi Zichen did not fuss too much about it. He had a problem that he had yet to solve. That was, you take your own point stones when you go out. Yeah, otherwise, how are you going to shop? Jiang Nan was a bit confused by Yi Zichen's question. Then, aren't we comparing points outside? Yi Zichen frowned. So that's what you care about? Blue Lotus Fairy couldn't help but laugh. It seems like the Milky Way Lords don't have a lot of points, so you're starting to feel uneasy? Actually, it's not what you think. Wealth is not recognized in this prison. Here, points are simply used as currency and have no other use. If points can be used here, then the people in this cell wouldn't have been captured. From the moment you were confirmed as a prisoner, the power of points was sealed. Is that so? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. You don't have to worry about points. I do want to ask you, when are your people coming to get you? You're still waiting for me? Yes. Jiang Nan did not deny it. I already did what I said, didn't I? Yi Zichen's expression darkened. He really didn't want to talk about it. Sneaking around in the middle of the night without Yi Zichen even realizing it. Then just wait. I'm going to have fun in this prison for a while. Just as Yi Zichen said that, the cell's metal door was pushed open. Rat and Duan Rong walked in and nodded towards Yi Zichen. Boss, we got it. Chapter 29:10. Rat and Duan Rong, who went out. Actually, they didn't buy anything special. They just bought some daily necessities. Their original intention wasn't to buy anything. They merely wanted to get a feel of the situation outside. After that, the special metal gate was locked once again. Rat and Duan Rong both walked in front of Yi Zichen after putting down the items they bought. Say it. Yi Zichen muttered softly. Rat glanced towards Duan Rong, as if he wanted her to speak first. You two aren't working together? Boss, you need points to go out, Rat smiled wryly. It's naturally better if we can cut down on time. What's more, if we both go to the same area, then we'll both be robbed. We might as well split up to reduce our losses and be more efficient. Regarding Mouse's words, Yi Zichen didn't say much, even though he did suggest the two of them to work together. That way, they could avoid a lot of unexpected situations. For example, someone had secretly gotten in touch with the people in the cells outside. Or rather, They didn't investigate carefully, causing the information to be off. Unfortunately, Yi Zichen knew very little about this prison. No matter what Rat and Duan Rong said, he could only choose to believe them. All right, you guys continue. Duan Rong nodded slightly, then took off her gold-rimmed glasses. The moment she took off her glasses, the aura surrounding her also disappeared, and she returned to her previous state of being transparent. I went to the West and North districts. Duan Rong pursed her lips, then gulped as if she was afraid of Yi Zichen. The boss of the West District is still Guan Feng. Nothing has changed. When I went there, he was resting outside with about 20-something people with him. They are all rather good fighters in the prison. Pretty much the same as White Bear. There isn't anyone in the North District. I didn't see anyone. It's probably because the time isn't right. Duan Rong muttered softly. During that time, Yi Zichen paid attention to her eyes. Yi Zichen definitely didn't know the people they were talking about. No matter how they described them, he wouldn't know who they were. Listen, Jiang Nan was the one listening. What he had to do was determine whether Duan Rong was lying or not. No more. No, Duan Rong nodded. Yi Zichen looked at her for a long time with a frown. Were you robbed? No. Duan Rong shook his head and said, the boss of the Western District doesn't have much conflict with White Bear, and he has never taken points from women. In fact, Brother Hao takes care of me and specially sent me to the Western District and the Northern District, two relatively safe places. All right, thanks for the hard work. Yi Zichen nodded. Not at all. Duan Rong pursed his lips and retreated to the back. His whole person was hidden among the crowd again, and he lost his sense of existence. After she finished her report, Haozi also walked up. Until now, only then did Yi Zichen notice the bruise on the corner of Rat's mouth. He was beaten. Hey, I'm used to it. Rat touched the corner of his mouth and grinned. We'll definitely get beaten up if we go out. The people from the East and South districts don't have a good relationship with us specials. They're ruthless and rob a lot. F*CK. The other places only rob 5%, but the two of them directly rob 10%. By percentage, Yi Zichen frowned. Boss, you. In an instant, Rat nodded with a look of understanding. You're a human. I almost forgot. Generally speaking, plundering other people's contribution stones will give you 5% of your points. This depends on how good your plundering skills are. Plunder. You can learn it in the black market. Jiangnan said softly beside Yi Zichen's ear. At the beginning, it's 3 to 5%. At most, you can plunder all of it, but the required points are ridiculously high. There's no plunder skill. Of course not. Jiangnan shrugged and said, you don't even know where the other party's point crystal key is. Even if you snatch it, it'll be useless. Key. The more Yi Zichen listened, the more confused he became. Why didn't he know what a key was? Moreover, the points he stole from others were all from the beginning. Once he snatched it, it would be his. The key is the key to unlock your point stones. Jiangnan pondered for a moment, as if she was thinking about how to explain it more clearly. How'd you check your points? Just put your hand on it and activate some cosmic energy. Yes, your energy is the key that belongs to you, Jiangnan replied. We, the ancestral dragon race, don't talk about energy. We call it key. If the other party doesn't cancel the key, you won't be able to obtain the points inside. Therefore, this requires a plunder skill. The first step is 3 billion. Shocked, Yi Zichen fell silent for a long time as he repeated Jiangnan's words in his mind. Jiangnan's reply. It was as if she had opened up a whole new world for Yi Zichen. Point stones can't be snatched just because you want to. Other people's points are theirs. Even if they are snatched, they won't be able to obtain the points inside. But Yi Zichen really did snatch everything into his hands. Max level plunder skill? I've never learned any plunder skill before. What a bad thing. Yi Zichen muttered to himself. Wondering if this had anything to do with his divine power. All right, Rat, continue. Yi Zichen did not dwell too much on the plunder technique. Rat nodded and replied. Rat nodded. The boss of the East District is also bald. Their relationship with us specials is the worst. I got my points stolen the moment I went there. He has more than 50 billion in his hands. That's a rough estimate. If we include the fighters around him, then it should be 100 billion. The focus is on the South District. The person in charge of the South District has changed. The one in charge now is a young man with a buzz cut. The lion from before is now working under him. That young man is definitely a tough one to be able to make the lion lower his head. Also, I wonder what the lion said to him. He's very interested in Nangia. Rat squinted his eyes and touched his face, then licked it. He was the one who gave me that punch. Also, he told me to pass on a message to you, boss. What? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He said, Nangia is going to be his sooner or later. If you send her to him earlier, then he can hit you harder when he sees you in the future. He gave you 3 days to think about it. If you don't see her in 3 days, then he'll directly come to our prison to see you. So reckless. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile and nod. No need for him to look for her. I gave her to him, Jiangnan. Chapter 29:11. Hurry up and come. Hurry up and come. Violent banging sounds and shouts could be heard coming from the special cell. 10 odd people stood behind Yi Zichen, while Jiangnan and her men and women stood in front of him. You're going to send me out? Jiangnan glared at Yi Zichen angrily. Milky Way Lord, I didn't do anything wrong, did I? I've already done what I promised you. What more do you want? I didn't need you to take me out, but I'm not so cheap that I have to do whatever you want me to do. Jiangnan's tone was firm and decisive. She was furious. Just now, Yi Zichen actually said he was going to send her to the boss of the South District. The prison guards also arrived late. When they pushed open the door, they saw the confrontation. What now? The prison guards roared angrily. The 2 guards who'd brought Yi Zichen here were among them. They looked at the situation in the cell with a frown, then looked towards Yi Zichen with a questioning gaze. I'm truly blind. I actually wanted to rely on you to leave this prison. Even White Bear didn't say he was going to give me away. Jiangnan's expression darkened. Milky Way Lord, are you even a man? What is it? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows in disdain. Aren't we just working together for mutual benefit? You want me to take you out and use you for some benefits. Is there a problem with that? What's more, sending you out is beneficial to everyone. What's there to be unwilling about? You make it sound so nice. Listen to me for everything. From the looks of it, it was just words. I merely asked you to go to the South District, and you're already so against it. I wonder what it'll be like if I ask you to do something else in the future. The prison guards who came in were confused. What South Side? What out? Milky Way Lord, this is... Tell these people to piss off. Yi Zichen pointed at Jiangnan and the people behind her. I don't want to see you guys in the special cell anymore. I'll beat you up every time I see you. I don't want to see you either. Disgusting. Jiangnan spat out and led the men and women behind her out of the cell. As he left, he glared at the prison guard. Why are you still standing here? Aren't you going to arrange a cell for us? Do you want to see us beaten to death by this human? The prison guards in front of the cell frowned. What was going on? Although they didn't know what was going on, they still closed the iron gate and looked at Jiangnan and the others. Follow us. Along the way, Jiangnan felt somewhat indignant. Sister Nan, don't be angry. It's not worth it for such a person. I was blind. Jiangnan was actually quite famous in prison. It was mainly because of her looks. When she first arrived at the prison guards were all talking about her, and many of them talked about her behind her back. It was just a pity that she was a prisoner. Even if she was as beautiful as a fairy, the prison guard were not allowed to have any unusual relationship with the prisoners. If he was discovered, he would be convicted. But now, Jiangnan was so angry and seemed to have some connection with the prison's special newcomer, the human race. From the situation at the time, it seemed that the human race was the special leader. Hey, what do you guys think happened? Who knows? It sounds like the Galactic Lord wants to give Jiangnan to someone in the South District. And from Jiangnan's tone, it sounds like she's the Galactic Lord's woman now. The Galactic Lord is so lucky. Yeah, the problem is, why did the Galactic Lord give Jiangnan away? That's what we need to consider, isn't it? Why? It must be because of the newcomer. One of the prison guards frowned and whispered, there's a new tough guy in the South District. On his first day, he beat up the South District's boss, Lion. Now, he's in charge of the South District. I guess the Galactic Lord wants to build a relationship with the new boss? TCH, he's just scared. Suddenly, The man who stood up next to Jiang Nan snorted. Just now, our cell rat went out to buy daily necessities and bumped into the South District's boss. Not only did he get robbed of his points, but he also asked him to pass on a message. He said that he wants the Galactic Lord to send Sister Jiang Nan over within 3 days. If he doesn't do it, he'll pay a visit personally. He's scared. He wants to send Sister Nan over without even thinking about it. Sister Nan then. Stop talking. Jiang Nan coldly interrupted the person next to her. It's my fault for being blind. I thought he was a hero. I didn't expect him to be a good-for-nothing. Sister Nan, this kind of person isn't worth getting angry over. Yeah, he even wanted to hit you just now. He's not a man at all. He thinks he's superior just because he's the human race's His Majesty. That's right. He doesn't have much ability, but he knows how to pretend. The prison guards all looked enlightened. So that was it. But to them, it wasn't a big deal. The Galactic Lord was probably just playing around with Jiang Nan. The novelty had long worn off. It just so happened that the South District was a tough nut to crack. He might as well take the initiative to send her over. But it was still rather embarrassing. Giving away one's woman was an extremely shameful act for a man. Besides, the Galactic Lord had status too. This sort of behavior was even more humiliating. If word got out, he might not even be able to raise his head. It seems this Galactic Lord isn't much after all. You two even told us to take care of him? What's there to take care of? The prison guard glanced at the tall and short guards and grinned. His Majesty from the human race. There's nothing wrong with taking care of him, right? The tall guard shrugged, but in his heart he didn't quite believe that Yi Zichen was the type to back down so easily. Furthermore, after White Bear's death, Yi Zichen had instantly taken over. No matter how you looked at it, it was obvious that he was a capable person. Would he really make such a decision for someone he hadn't even met? Furthermore, the people from the South District had said they would go find him. Would they go just because he said so? What were the prison guards for? Wouldn't they care about him? The Milky Way Lord should know this. Could it be that the Milky Way Lord didn't believe them? All right, Jiang Nan, you and the others can stay here. The prison guard pulled over a metal door. If anything happens, call the prison guards. We'll handle the transfer warrant for you. Thank you. Jiang Nan nodded at the prison guard, then led them to a relatively small cell. As the metal door closed, the disturbance over the special unit came to an end. Chapter 2912, City of Prosperity Prison. During this period of time, rumors and slanders about the special cell were spreading everywhere in the prison. Most of them were the Galactic Lord. Fearing the boss of the Southern District, he gave up his woman, Jiang Nan, to him. Jiang Nan swore to die rather than submit, so much so that they started fighting in the prison cell. Now, Jiang Nan had been assigned to another cell. Ha! As expected of Brother Jia. Just one sentence from Rat, and the human lord was so scared that he peed his pants. Ha! The Southern District cell was filled with laughter. The matter had been brewing for a few days, and now the entire prison knew about it. The human lord. His identity was special compared to the people of the ancestral dragon clan. When he entered the prison, he was the focus of attention. Now, the news of the Galactic Lord giving up his woman to Jiang Nan spread like wildfire and naturally became a topic of discussion in the prison. This Galactic Lord, he's really a coward. Brother Jia didn't say anything, and he was scared to that extent. I heard that he was looking for trouble with Jiang Nan. He's so useless that he vented his anger on a woman. That's ridiculous. I know, right? This Galactic Lord is not as good as White Bear. But that White Bear is dead. I heard that he had more than 100 billion points, and they all fell into the hands of the prison guards. Yeah, the prison guards are rich. With points, there was no difference between living in prison and living outside. You could buy anything you wanted in prison. The only drawback was that there was not much freedom and movement was sometimes limited. The prisoners in the Southern District cell were chatting. Their words, without exception, raised the status of the young man sitting in the middle of them. With Brother Jia's skills, it shouldn't be a problem to unify the entire prison. Another person flattered him silently, which made the brush-cut young man very satisfied. I don't want to unify the prison. I just want to earn some points and go out and have fun. It's so convenient to grab points here. I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to think about taking responsibility. It's much freer than outside. The young man's cheeks were red from drinking, and he reeked of alcohol. He stated his purpose of coming here. Brother Jiet, good job. The prisoners all gave him a thumbs up. He actually thought of using this method to obtain points. His thinking was quite flexible. Lion, don't be upset. I won't stay here for more than a few months. I'll leave in half a year at most. By then, you'll still be the boss of the South Side. Maybe that Jiang then will also be yours. The young man with the brush cut patted the shoulder of the middle-aged man with brown hair. With Brother Jia's strength, I'm convinced that he's the boss of South District. The lion nodded slightly. The young man laughed heartily. All right, as long as you're convinced. Oh, is there any news from Jiangnan? Brother Jia is interested in Jiangnan. It's not that interesting, but I heard you talking about Jiangnan every day. I also want to see what's so special about this woman that the whole prison can't forget her. Brother Jia grinned and said, when the time comes, I will also get her play with me for 2 days and try something new. If that's the case, Brother Jia can find her directly. Someone in the cell whispered, I guess she doesn't have much ability. She's the kind that can survive in prison by relying on men. Brother Jia is the boss of our prison. She's lucky to be able to follow Brother Jia. That's right. She should be happy with Brother Jia. No. Surprisingly, Brother Jia shook his head and didn't agree with the other's proposal. What's the point of me going directly? Oh, Brother Jia, do you have other ideas? The person in the cell raised his eyebrows. You need a reason to find her. Brother Jia grinned. You can't spoil a woman. If you go directly to her, it will seem like she's very important. She will use her importance to bargain with you. Just leave her alone. Hasn't the Galactic Lord been looking for trouble with her during this time? When she has no way out, she will take the initiative to find me. As expected of Brother Jia, you're really far-sighted and smart. Another round of flattery. The young man with the brush cut felt a little smug. Little did he know that at this time. Really? Has it spread now? Not bad. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose and nodded with a smile. So was the prison guards who spread it. I told you, they're definitely being used by us. Boss, what should we do now? Rat and the others in the cell all looked towards Yi Zichen. They'd already endured for 5 days. They'd been waiting for things to ferment. By now, it had more or less fermented. There was probably no one in the prison who didn't know about it. But now, everyone probably thought the Galactic Lord was a good-for-nothing. How's the other district's attitude towards us lately? The Western districts are the same as before, Rat frowned. Although Boss's reputation in prison isn't particularly good, the Western district's boss has always been relatively neutral. Whether they snatch women or not depends on their mood. They absolutely don't snatch women. Our prison brothers went to the Western districts over a dozen times, and roughly 30% of them were snatched. However, they only snatched 3%. What about the Northern districts? The Northern districts have changed quite a bit. What do you mean? Ever since the Northern districts received news of White Bear's death, they stopped being hostile towards us. Rat let out a sigh. Rat exhaled lightly. It looks like they're only targeting White Bear. They don't have much of a grudge against us, special class members. They didn't try to snatch our people either after they found out about you. Is that so? Yi Zichen was rather surprised. He didn't think that the Northern districts wouldn't try to snatch their people. The Eastern districts and the Southern districts, they've gotten worse. Rat clenched his fist, especially the people from the Southern districts. They don't even treat our people as humans. Very good. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose and smiled. Based on his observations over the past few days, he was able to confirm his final target, the Eastern districts and the Southern districts. How's the situation with Jiangnan? Did the people from the Southern districts go to look for her? Yi Zichen asked. No, they didn't. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then quickly revealed an enlightened expression. I gave him a chance to save the damsel in distress, but he didn't want it. It seems like he wants to wait for Jiang Nan to go find him. Interesting, this person has a lot of ideas. Nanjia asked what you're going to do next. Later, you guys go to the prison and cause trouble for Jiang Nan and company again, then get Jiang Nan to seek refuge with the Eastern districts. Chapter 29:13. Eastern District, Jiang Nan, who was combing her hair, frowned. Are you sure you heard correctly? The Milky Way Lord wants me to join the Eastern District and not the Southern District? Internal conflict? Naturally not. Jiang Nan had already made it clear that she needed to leave the prison by Yi Zichen's side. Even if everyone in the prison treated him as an enemy, she definitely wouldn't. The farce from before was just to prepare for the future. First, the prison guards were the main targets to spread the news throughout the prison. Then, they would reduce the guards' wariness towards Yi Zichen. Then, they would send people to observe the attitudes of the various districts. Then, they would choose which district to attack. Rat and the others would go out to cause trouble for Jiang Nan every now and then. That was a show for others to see, to mislead them into thinking that the conflict had intensified. At the same time, they would give Jiang Nan a reasonable excuse to join the designated district. Otherwise, joining the other district directly would be very sudden and would make others think that they had ulterior motives. Actually, Jiang Nan didn't think that it needed to be so complicated. The ancestral dragon clan didn't have the brains of humans. They couldn't think of such a roundabout way and only look to the surface. From the moment Jiang Nan was chased out, everyone in the prison firmly believed that there was a problem between them. But according to Jiang Nan's estimations, she should be going to the Southern District. Why did she go to the Eastern District? That's what Rat said. The prison guard muttered. It seems like the Milky Way Lord thinks that the people of the Southern District are too pretentious. He wants you to go find him yourself. The Milky Way Lord doesn't like you, so he wants you to go to the Eastern District. Since you won't go to him first, we'll see what his attitude is like. Then what I need to do? Jiang Nan frowned. Rat said that the Milky Way Lord believes in your ability. Understood. When will Rat and the others come? Just for a while. Before he could finish his sentence, the iron door of the cell was suddenly slammed hard by someone. Jiang Nan, come out. Don't just F*King hide in there. Our boss said that if you go back and serve him well, he might pretend like nothing happened. Hurry up, or else we'll rob you every time we see you. From the sound of it, it was obvious that the person shouting outside was Rat. Serve. Go back. Is that a signal? Jiang Nan frowned slightly. Because there were too many people in this prison, there were spies everywhere, and some communication couldn't be too obvious. This was also why when they talked about the plan, in the end, he chose to let Jiang Nan do whatever she wanted. He really couldn't say too much. Rat and the people in Jiang Nan's cell were connected, and if too much time passed, it was very likely that they would be discovered and become suspicious. Come out quickly. Our boss will give you 2 hours to think about it. You'd better not waste time. Let me tell you, boss is getting impatient. Our brothers from a special branch are also waiting for you. If you still don't come out, don't blame us for coming over. Your crappy metal door won't be able to withstand our kicks. Hey, let go of me. Why are you grabbing me? My boss is the Milky Way Overlord, the majesty of the human race. Let go of me. Only now did someone in the prison whisper. Housie was taken away by the prison guards. Bitch, our boss is waiting for you in the cell. 2 hours, I'll give you 2 hours. Suddenly, Rat shouted from outside. Jiang Nan, who was combing her long hair, smiled. She understood. We'll begin our operation in 5 minutes. We'll head directly to the Eastern District. Understood. Jiang Nan silently sat on the bed, thinking back to the whispers that Rat had made outside, which seemed to be a signal. I hope I'm not wrong. She didn't think there would be any problems. Actually, Rat had already been very explicit. 2 hours. That meant that they could provide 2 hours for the entire prison to prepare. In 2 hours, all the members of the special branch would appear. If they wanted to join in on the fun, they would naturally come. Secondly, Jiang Nan would go to the Eastern District and incite the people there to cause trouble for Yi Zichen. The boss of the Southern District was rather arrogant. If he found out that she went to find the boss of the Eastern District, he would definitely come and demand an explanation. He might even start fighting. When that happened, the prison would become even more chaotic. He wants to use this opportunity to break out of prison? Or does he really want to use this opportunity to rake in a fortune? This is a huge event for the entire prison. Even if it's just the Eastern and Southern districts, there are over 5,000 people. Is he confident? The news of the special branch sending people to threaten Jiang Nan's cell spread like wildfire. This time, The threat was even more severe than before. Jieji. The people from a special branch went to cause trouble for Jiangnan again. The people from a southern district hurried back. Jieji and the others were still drinking. From the looks of the buzz cut, he was also a drunkard. He wouldn't be able to move when he touched alcohol, and there were wine bottles everywhere. They went again. Burp. Good. Jieji burped with the smell of alcohol. I reckon that Jiangnan won't be able to last much longer. When the time comes, she will definitely come to our southern district to seek refuge with me. Then, I'll have to help her vent her anger. That's all a woman can think about. They'll probably be here soon. The prisoner who came to report laughed. The prisoner who came to report the news grinned. Just now, Special Rat passed a message on behalf of the Galactic Lord. He said that Jiangnan has 2 hours to think about it. If she doesn't return in 2 hours, the entire prison will come out to find her. Oh, the buzz-cut youth raised his eyebrows and revealed a smile in his eyes. That's good. In other words, those turtles from the special branch will come out soon. Probably. The prisoner grinned. These days, almost all the people from the special branch stayed in their cells and rarely came out. Even if the southern district wanted to bully them, they couldn't find anyone to bully. Now, the people from a special branch said that they would all come out. Send someone out to welcome Jiangnan. I've been waiting for this woman for a long time. Jieji licked his lips and breathed out the smell of alcohol. When the time comes, beat up his holiness of the human race. I've never beaten up his holiness of the human race in my life. Yes. Unfortunately, before he could finish his sentence, another person ran in from outside. Jieji. Jiangnan went to Baldy from the Eastern District. In an instant, the buzz-cut youth smashed the wine bottle in his hand and glared at the person who came to report the news. What did you say? Jiangnan went to Baldy from the Eastern District. Damn, that bitch. The buzz-cut youth threw his subordinate against the wall and grinned. Very well, you want to use this method to provoke me. Good. I'll make you pay for it. Inform everyone in the Southern District to be released from prison. Chapter 29:14. Eastern District of the Prison. The entire Prosperity City prison was divided into 4 areas, each with its own boss, a bit like the 4 Kings. In these 4 areas, even the prison guards didn't dare to go too far when facing the 4 Kings. They still had to give face. As for the special area, its geographical location was relatively special. It was located in the middle of the prison. The people here were said to be cruel and merciless people. In fact, most of them were people who didn't want to have power outside and needed special treatment. The prison guards didn't dare to provoke the people here. To put it bluntly, there was no place in the entire prison that the prison guards could provoke. Thinking of this, the prison guards were really sullen. The only thing they could do was to eat melons in prison. It was to add some fun to the boring work. Just now, there was another big melon in the prison guard circle. It was said that Jiangnan had defected to the Eastern District Baldy. This reversal was very unexpected. Because of his fear of the new boss of the Southern District, His Majesty pushed Jiangnan out of his cell. After that, he kept looking for trouble. Everyone felt that Jiangnan was going to the Southern District in the end, but unexpectedly, she chose to go to the Eastern District. Did she deliberately do this to show His Majesty? Angry. You want me to go to the Southern District, but I will go to the Eastern District. If that was the case, this matter would become interesting. I heard that His Majesty will also bring his people out in a while. Will he bring people to the Eastern District to cause trouble? You think too much. Will he dare? One of the prison guards curled his lips in disdain. Think about it. With his ability, at most, he can bully a woman with no ability like Jiangnan. If he knows that Jiangnan defected to the Eastern District, will he dare to come out? Who can say for sure? Another prison guard had a different idea and said in a low voice, maybe he got hot-headed and killed his way out with his subordinates. I don't think it's possible. I think it's possible. The prison guards argued with each other. At this moment, a prison guard raised his hand and pulled the arguing prison guards apart. How about I open a bet? The odds are 1-to-1. If you think you can come out, you can bet. If you can't, you can bet no. How about it? These prisoners want to make trouble. Let's have some fun. Sure. One of the prison guards nodded and replied, in that case, I can't take out 500,000. I bet I can come out and bet 1 million. Just as the prison guards were placing their bets, Eastern Prison, Jiang Nin pursed her lips, followed by a few people who had followed her out of the special building. You want to defect to me? The bald guy outside the cell grinned. Why did you choose to come here? Shouldn't you be at South Side? You want me, don't you? Jiang Nin whispered. Baldy was taken aback by such a blatant question, but he shrugged non-committally. Why did you ask that? Jiang Nan, who in this prison doesn't want you? Then why are you still asking about this? Jiang Nan coldly whispered, I need protection, and you want me. Then, there's a beneficial relationship between us. Keh. The bald man grinned. Woman, you should be thankful that you have good looks. It allows you to live a good life in this prison. Sure, you can come to the Eastern District. I have another condition. Conditions? The bald man, sitting on the chair, suddenly frowned. Little girl, don't think too highly of yourself. I admit that you have some looks, but it's not to the point where you can bargain. Don't think too much. Can you wait for me to finish? Jiang Nan whispered. Looking at Jiang Nan's neither servile nor overbearing manner, the bald man pondered for a moment before nodding slightly. Sure, go ahead. I do need your protection here. I admit that. I don't have the strength, so I can only rely on you men. I know that. Jiang Nan mumbled softly, but I also have my bottom line. For example, the human His Majesty actually handed me over to the South District because of his own cowardice. This is something that I absolutely cannot tolerate. Will you do the same? Now, what do you think? The bald man sneered. I'm not sure, so I hope you can give me a clear answer. Jiang Nan said with a straight face. I won't. The bald man's answer was resolute. That guy from Southside does have some skills. Lion is actually willing to be his underling. But to me, he's nothing. The 3,000 brothers of the East Side are no joke. Come to me, and I promise that you'll only need to serve me for the rest of your life. Okay, I believe you. Jiang Nan nodded. Oh, you believe me so easily? The bald man raised his eyebrows slightly. Do I have the right to doubt you? Jiang Nan smiled bitterly. I'm just asking to comfort myself. I have no other choice. I won't go to South Side even if I die. Plus, you made a promise in front of so many of your brothers, so I don't think you'll go back on your word. You're a smart woman. The bald man nodded. I also hope that you can agree to a request of mine. Don't push your luck. Please wait for me to finish. Jiang Nan pursed her lips, her eyes filled with desire and resentment. I hope that you can avenge me. Oh, when I was in prison, His Majesty slapped me because I didn't listen to him. Jiang Nan clenched her fists tightly, her eyes filled with anger. I hope that you can avenge me and let me return that slap. If you can help me, I'm willing to serve you with all my heart. Otherwise, even if you get me, I'll just be a dead fish that can only vent my lust. Interaction or dead fish, it's up to you. The men around the bald man couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. This could be said to be an extremely explicit explanation. A woman? To be able to say such shameless words. How determined must she be? The bald man also looked at Jiang Nan with a scrutinizing gaze for a long time. When? Just for a while. Jiang Nan narrowed her eyes and said softly, He just said that he's going to bring someone to beat me up. I hope that you can bring all your men there and capture him. I'll return that slap in front of everyone. Okay. The bald man nodded without hesitation. I'll fulfill your wish. If that's the case, Jiang Nan thanks you here. Jiang Nan bowed deeply. The bald man subconsciously wanted to reach out, but Jiang Nan dodged him. When you let me take my revenge, I'll be all yours. You don't have to be in a hurry, right? Sure. The bald man licked his lips greedily and winked at his men. Get everyone in the East Side to pick up their weapons. In a while, let's meet that His Majesty and treat it as a welcome party for your sister-in-law. Chapter 29:15. Boss, I'm back. Rat, who had been taken away by the prison guards, and a few other people from the prison rushed back from outside. Yi Zichen happened to see the disdainful gaze of the prison guard who opened the door. It seems that he is now notorious in prison. This was the effect he wanted. When he saw her expression, Yi Zichen felt much more at ease. The iron door was slammed shut. Rat and company left the two of them to listen for any movements at the door, while Rat walked in front of Yi Zichen and whispered, Sister, Nina's already gone to the East District. All right, did you guys see anything on your way back? Yi Zichen twisted his neck and said softly, "The south side seems to be on the move." Housie squinted his eyes and licked his lips. "When I came back, I heard that the people at the south side knew that sister Nin went to the east side. They're preparing to cause trouble there. Have you released the news that we're about to go out?" "They've been released." Rat nodded. "Back then, I shouted quite loudly, so everyone around us could hear me. 2 hours was enough for a few regions to consolidate." "Boss, are you planning to destroy the entire prison this time? You want to?" I don't really want to." Rat scratched his head and said, "If we set up the entire prison, it would be difficult for us to move forward in the future. You might be able to deter them for a period of time while you're here, but once you're gone, none of us here will be able to carry the flag." "We'll see." Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and muttered, "The eastern and southern regions have a rather bad relationship with us, so it's natural for us to rob them. West and north, let's see what they'll do when the time comes. Their performance during this period of time is not bad, but if they want to make a move against us later, I don't mind including them." Boss is so domineering. Rat couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Everyone else in the prison had similar expressions. "The whole prison is beneath me." How much confidence did he have? Get ready, all of you. These 2 hours are not only for the other regions to prepare, but also for you. Yi Zichen twisted his neck and muttered, "Think carefully about whether or not you're really going to leave later. There are only these few dozen people in our prison, but there are tens of thousands of people outside. Ask yourself what you really think. Don't be too far-fetched. You can rest assured that no matter what decision you make, I will not blame you." With that, Yi Zichen returned to the brick bed and closed his eyes to rest. 2 hours later, he had a tough battle to fight. If others used their plunder techniques to steal points, then Yi Zichen's plunder technique should be maxed out. They robbed the East and South districts clean. When he was released from prison, he would probably have more than 100 billion points. When that happened, Zhu Ying's expression would be very interesting. She probably didn't even think about it. He'd originally wanted to torture Yi Zichen for a while, but instead, it had become a hunting ground for points. Undercurrents were surging in the prison. The eastern and southern districts were the most active. All the criminals in the entire district were making preparations, as if they were going to have a large-scale battle. They were making all kinds of arrangements. Western and northern districts, it didn't seem to be any big movements, but there were people shuttling back and forth. It was unknown what they were up to, and the fuse for all of this was special. Is there anyone else who wants to place a bet? Will Her Highness, the Special Milky Way, choose to leave prison? The odds are 1-1. If you want to place a bet, hurry up. If the time is up, you won't be able to place a bet. The C.O.S. were still yelling. His opening was actually a kind of gamble. If the side that bet less won, he would win, and if the side that bet more won, he would lose. F***CK, what are you guys doing here? At this moment, a man dressed in black walked over and scolded angrily. It was obvious from the way he was dressed. His rank was slightly higher than the others. "Prison warden, do you people really think that there's nothing to do in prison? You're just playing around here? Hurry up. Go to the points room to get your point stones. The people from the east, south, west, and north districts are going to leave prison," the man in black frowned. "You're all coming out." Hearing that, the C.O.S. were stunned, then immediately revealed looks of joy. "Prison warden, we're going to get rich." Leaving prison required 10,000 points every minute. There were more than 10,000 prisoners in the entire prison. If all of them left prison, the prison would earn more than 100 million every minute. Even if the Minister of Public Security, Zhu Yunjiu, took the majority, their share was already quite a lot. That's right. The prison warden did not retort, and merely nodded with a smile. "We have to thank His Majesty. If it weren't for him, our prison wouldn't have been able to have such a large organization in hundreds of years. He's our god of wealth." From the prison warden's words, it was obvious that he knew about the special units. However, he maintained a tacit agreement and ignored them. It was enough to show the attitude of the prison. They hoped that it would be more lively. The longer the prisoners stayed outside, the more profits the prison would make, and the more points the prison staff would get. As for the casualties, they were all prisoners. What did it matter if they died or not? This was a prison. If he did not say anything, would anyone outside know what was going on? It would be better if they died. When the time came, they could find a random reason to report it, and the points would become ownerless. Even if relatives came to claim the points, they could say that they had spent all the points in prison. That way, the points would belong to them, and they could split them directly. At most, the more important ones could not die, such as His Majesty of the human race. Such a Majesty of the human race would definitely leave prison. The human race would definitely send people to look for him. They could not afford to offend such a person, but it did not matter to others. When the time came, they would be fine as long as they paid a little attention. Ha ha, that's right. The prison guards all laughed. Not long ago, they had just split more than 100 billion after White Bear's death. Unexpectedly, it had only been a few days, they actually caused such a big commotion again. What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and go to the points vault to get your point stones. The prison warden narrowed his eyes and snorted. The sooner we let them out, the sooner we can earn a minute of points. Hurry up and get moving. Warden, is there any news from the special units? No, The prison warden frowned. Suddenly, many prison guards shouted to pay the bill. Pay the F***CK. The prison guard who opened the bill frowned. How long has it been? 2 hours is still early. What are you betting on? The prison warden frowned. Betting on whether His Majesty of the human race will come out or not. Warden, do you want to play? Chapter 29:16. TSK, it's spectacular. The prison guards crossed their arms as they watched the large group of people walk out of the cells. The entire South Side, under the leadership of Brother Gia with a buzz cut. All of them had left their cells. The majestic group of people almost filled up the space in the South Side prison. TSK, almost 3,000 people. Our South Side has already taken in so many prisoners? The prison guards standing at the workstation grinned. Even though they could see that those people were holding sticks or other weapons in their hands, they acted as if they hadn't seen anything and continued chatting among themselves. This was the working attitude of the prison guards here. They didn't care about anything. Anyway, it was impossible to escape from the prison. There was an energy seal around the prison. Even the prison guards could only leave through the gate. They weren't worried that these prisoners would beat them. These prisoners didn't have points. Even if they had points, they were treated as zero in the prison. The prison guards were invincible among them. Usually, the prison guards didn't abuse their power. It was purely because they considered that after these people got out of prison, if they went too far in the prison, they might find them when they got out. This had happened in the prison before. The prison guards beat the prisoners, and in the end, the prisoners killed their whole families when they were released. Therefore, because of these incidents, they were still polite to the prisoners in the prison. As long as they didn't go too far, such as insulting and provoking the prison guards, they could turn a blind eye to other things. As for criminals, crimes are everywhere. Naturally, there will be more and more people caught. You haven't been here for long. At the peak of our prison, we had more than 50,000 people in custody. The entire prison was full. A slightly more experienced prison guard whispered, "The more prisoners we have, the better our profits will be. If there are only a few hundred prisoners, we'll have to rely on the dead wages to survive. How can we feed our families?" As soon as he finished speaking, the old prison guard frowned and shouted toward the outside. "If you want to fight, go outside. We've already opened the gate for you. Fight in the open space outside. If you fight in the prison, you won't be able to move freely. If you break it, you'll have to pay for it." The prisoners of the South Side all gestured to the old prison guard. They understood. I didn't know that the prison here is so harmonious. At this moment, a mocking whisper suddenly came from the position of the prison guard on duty. "Don't tell me that you guys are just going to ignore the prisoners fighting here." Suddenly, the prison guard turned around. Then they saw Yi Zichen smile at them and raise his eyebrows slightly. You're a human." "Sure." Yi Zichen hurriedly put a finger to his lips. "Don't talk nonsense. If they find out I'm Her Majesty, won't they swarm over me and drag you down with them? Don't be so noisy and behave yourself, okay? You actually dared to come out." The old prison guard's expression froze. The way he saw it, Yi Zichen shouldn't have come out under these circumstances. Of course, he didn't participate in any of the bets in the prison, but he did mourn for those who bet on Yi Zichen not daring to come out. They were going to lose miserably this time. Why not? They don't know me anyway. I haven't been out since I went to prison. Even if I walk past them right now, they might not know it's me. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. But you'll be exposed eventually. Of course, I chose to come out in order to announce my identity. Yi Zichen scratched his neck and raised his eyebrows. Yi Zichen scratched his neck and raised his eyebrows. You guys should understand the current situation very well, right? Tell me, how many people have come from the 4 districts? Why should we tell you? The slightly younger prison guard frowned. Hurry up and go back to your cell and stay there. If you don't want to die, then don't come out and show off. Otherwise, I'll beat your brains out. TSK, you're just a useless piece of trash. I don't know how you have the face to live. The young prison guard was satisfied. The senior prison guard who was with him continuously signaled him with his eyes, but he acted as if he didn't see it and maintained the same look of disdain. He just looked down on Yi Zichen. What's more, he only said it in front of Yi Zichen. What else could he do? Was he going to beat him up in prison? Zaziz, those words are too hurtful. Yi Zichen sighed helplessly. Lil bro, has anyone ever told you that it's good to be more low-key? Low profile, is that right for you? The young prison guard said disdainfully. Aren't you just a human, His Holiness? Do you think you're superior to others just because of your status? Although he said that he was the majesty of the human race, he was just an outsider. How big of a wave could he create in our ancestral dragon race? Keep a low profile. Keep those words to yourself. Well said, Yi Zichen said. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled, then patted the young prison guard's shoulder. Who told you to touch? Before the young prison guard could finish, a loud crack sounded out from his shoulder. Before he could finish, Yi Zichen covered his mouth. Stop yelling. I don't want them to notice me yet. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes with a smile, then slowly increased the strength of his hand. The face of the young prison guard, who was grabbed by the shoulder, started to twist. Then he saw Yi Zichen tighten his grip once again. The young prison guard fell to the ground, his life hanging in the balance. Seeing this scene, the senior prison guard froze on the spot. He actually injured a prison guard. I can tell that you're an old fox. Since you're an old fox, then you don't want to die, right? Yi Zichen asked. Die? Could the person underground already be dead? Your Holiness, I don't want to die. The senior prison guard shook his head. The senior prison guard shook his head vigorously. I've never slandered you in private. As for what you did just now, I didn't see anything. Is that so? Then if someone asks you, how will you answer? The people of the Southern District did it, but they can't kill this prison guard without points. I said I don't know. Either way, the people of the Southern District did it. As for who did it, I don't know either. There were too many people at the time, so I don't know anything. The prison guard shook his head. Very good. Remember what you said. Yi Zichen patted his shoulder. Yi Zichen patted him on the shoulder. As long as you keep saying that, I can guarantee that you won't die. But if you do, then I can't guarantee that you'll still be alive. Yes, I don't know anything. Fine, I won't kill you since you're rather smart. Yi Zichen touched his ear. Yi Zichen touched his ear. I want to borrow something from you. As long as it's not my life, anything is fine. Zaziz, you even know this joke? Yi Zichen chuckled, then muttered. Don't worry. How could I take your life? I want the clothes you're wearing. Take them off, I want them. Chapter 29:17. The door to the guard post was pushed open. Yi Zichen, who was wearing a prison guard uniform, lowered his cap and quickly left the guard post. In the guard post, the experienced prison guard curled up on the floor with fear in his eyes. Actually, he should have gone to inform the prison warden. Unfortunately, he was already scared out of his wits. Her Majesty of the human race actually had the ability to kill prison guards. For his own safety, he chose to remain silent. Hey, what a great harvest. 3,000 people came out from the East District. They earned 30 million every minute they stayed outside. Plenty of people came out from the West and North Districts as well. All of these voices entered Yi Zichen's ears. He didn't expect there to be so many people in the East District. The old prison guard and the others were talking. 2,000 to 3,000 people came out from the South District. According to the prison's fees, the prison earned more than 60 million every minute. That's truly a huge profit. I wonder if I can rob these prison guards as well. If I can, Then wouldn't I earn more than 1 trillion when I get out? I don't feel good about robbing the ancestral dragon clan. If I get caught, then wouldn't the ancestral dragon clan directly punish me with their attitude towards me? When that happens, it would be very difficult for the Virtual World Corporation to personally come and get me. It's best if I don't cause trouble for Wen Li Jie right now. Since she hasn't contacted me for so long, she might be extremely busy right now. Otherwise, it's not like she doesn't know anything about me being convicted of killing a human highness. Hey, how's the situation in the South District? A voice sounded out from the prison's internal communication device. Yi Zichen's expression instantly tensed up when he heard that. I have to answer. If I don't answer, they will definitely keep asking, and they might even go to the guard post. If I'm found out, then it'll be troublesome. Yi Zichen thought back to the old prison guard's voice. Yi Zichen coughed and muttered. There should be around 3,000 people in the South District. Old Huang, a confused voice sounded out from the communication device. Why did your voice become like that? My throat isn't feeling too good. You've been working overtime recently, right? I told you, even if your wife is going to have a third child, you can't work so hard. You won't be able to handle it sooner or later. The prison guard's concerned voices sounded out from the communication device. I know. Yi Zichen continued to mutter softly, causing the other prison guards to change the topic. Oh yeah, is there any movement from the special area? Not yet. Motherf ** Kerr, yours truly had wagered that His Majesty of the human race would come out. Don't let yours truly lose. Ha ha ha, you're most likely going to lose. More than 6,000 people came from the eastern and southern districts. You must be scared to death after hearing the news, right? The communicator was filled with mocking laughter. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He really didn't have any face in this prison at all. That was good too. The more they looked down on him, the easier it would be for him to act. Where are you going? At this moment, a prison guard suddenly came up to him. Old Huang, why aren't you on duty? I'm going out for a bit. Yi Zichen muttered. At this moment, he looked exactly like the old prison guard. Apart from his voice, no one could tell that there was anything wrong with him. Out! There are too many people coming from the eastern and southern districts. Fighting inside the prison will damage the facilities. I plan to go out and see if there's a suitable place for them to fight outside. You really think too much. The prison guard patted Yi Zichen's shoulder with a smile, then said softly, then go and see. Then go ahead and take a look. It just so happens that the warden has the same idea. I'll lead some people to evacuate them. Actually, the mountain behind our prison is fine. Go and inform the people there to vacate the place. If they're killed, we could just bury them. All right. Yi Zichen frowned as he watched the prison guard leave. This place, they really don't treat human lives as lives. They actually said something like directly burying them after they are killed. That means that they don't care about the lives of the prisoners at all. However, when Yi Zichen thought about it, he understood. If they really do care, then the fight in the prison probably won't happen. When Yi Zichen arrived at the gate of the prison according to his memories, the guards all nodded towards him with a smile when they saw that it was Old Huang, and let him out without even interrogating him. It was clear that Old Huang was quite popular in the prison. It really is huge. Yi Zichen licked his lips with a frown. When he left the prison, what he saw was a huge prison wall. The surrounding wall was at least 10 meters tall. It was over 10,000 meters long. It surrounded the entire prison like a fortress. The height of the wall alone was something that the prisoners in the prison would not be able to leave. What's more, he had already gone through 10-odd checkpoints in the prison, so he had to wear the prison guard uniform if he wanted to leave. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to pass the prison. That's right. What Yi Zichen was doing wasn't for the prisoners. He was doing it for himself. No matter how many prisoners there were in the South and East districts, they weren't anything in his eyes. In the end, they were all goods that he robbed. What was there to pay attention to? From the very beginning, he didn't care about those people at all. The points he earned from them were purely for extracurricular activities to get some benefits. Otherwise, it would be rather boring to stay in the prison every day, so he treated it as finding some fun for himself. It was also so that he would have enough points to spend when he left. As for his true purpose, it was actually for something more important. The reason why he changed into the prison guard uniform was purely to get a clear understanding of the situation in the prison. There's nothing he could do. He had to prepare for the prison break. Up until now, no one from the Virtual World Corporation had contacted him. From the looks of it, they didn't seem to have any intention of getting him out. He couldn't just keep wasting time here. The longer he stayed here, the longer Su Yin and the others would worry. He had to get out as soon as possible. The Virtual World Corporation ignored him. In other words, if he wanted to leave, he had to rely on himself. There was only one way for him to leave, and that was to escape. It was impossible for the ancestral dragon clan to let him go because of their conscience. He had to rely on himself. He purposely made things like this. It was also to divert the attention of the people in the prison to this storm. This way, it would be easier to figure out the general outline of the prison first, choose the most suitable escape route, and find time to leave from here. As for directly leaving, that was impossible. The ancestral dragon clan definitely had some special ability to ensure that no one had successfully escaped for so many years. If Yizichin chose to leave recklessly, it would be disadvantageous to him. It was better to get a clear understanding of the situation before acting. Chapter 29:18. There's a seal around it. Yizichin, who was standing on top of the wall, reached out. He could stretch his arm out for less than half a meter. There was a barrier around it. Most importantly, standing on the prison walls, he could not see what it was like outside. All he could see was chaos. How am I supposed to get out? Yizichin had already run a lap around the wall. The prison gave him the feeling that it was a separate space. That's right. He felt like that description was very appropriate. This prison seemed to be outside of the ancestral dragon clan's realm. The chaos outside the wall was the best proof. Or perhaps this chaos was just a smokescreen. Yizichin felt a headache coming on. If it really was a separate space, then he'd have to go through the prison gates if he wanted to leave. However, it seemed like he needed a key card to leave. He did have one in his pocket. It was the key card of that senior guard, Old Huang. He couldn't activate it. How about I try to force my way out? Yizichin clenched his fist and gathered the power of his godhead. Never mind. Just as he was about to punch, Yizichin retracted his fist. I can't take too much of a risk right now. Who knows if the seal has any warnings? If I attack the seal and activate the warning function, then it'll be bad. In any case, this was just a preliminary exploration. There will always be other opportunities in the future. Yizichin looked around. After confirming that no one was watching, he licked his lips, jumped down from the wall, and hurried back into the prison. From the beginning to the end, no one had noticed him. You have to return your clothes. Yizichin returned to the guard room in the South District. When he returned, the young guard's corpse had already disappeared. Where is he? Yizichin's heart sank. If someone else found him and took him away, then his situation would become rather awkward. He's dead, Old Huang replied. I'm asking about the corpse. Ancestral dragon clansmen don't have corpses after they die. They automatically return to the altar after half an hour to await new life. Old Huang replied in a trembling voice. Old Guang replied with a trembling voice. Your Holiness, please spare my life. I will forget everything that happened today and never mention it to anyone for the rest of my life. Old Huang was really scared. Now, he had a happy family. He had a virtuous wife and a few lovely children. Although life was tiring, he still enjoyed it. How could he not be afraid of seeing his comrade die in front of him? Although he had always believed that the prison guards were invincible in the prison. In a situation where the prisoners had no points, the prison guards had points to protect them. They should activate the energy barrier to ensure their safety. But this conviction of his had just been mercilessly destroyed. His comrade died. Moreover, in a situation where no one resisted, not even the slightest bit of energy barrier was touched. This completely shattered his understanding. He could only sigh inwardly, as expected of the majesty of the human race. Yizichin raised his eyebrows when he heard that the deceased had returned to the altar. How would I, when I get back to the altar, will he or the others know that I'm the killer? No. Old Huang shook his head. You have to tell me the truth. Right now, I'm still considering whether you live or die, and the possibility of me killing you is higher. You should also know that a dead man's mouth is the tightest. Yizichin frowned. I promise you I won't, Old Huang said seriously. As he replied, the muscles on his face trembled. Yi Zichen could tell just how terrified he was. You're very scared? Yes. You're scared that I'll kill you? Yes. I can give you a chance to live. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, then pressed down on Old Huang's head. Old Huang instantly tensed up. Your Majesty, please speak. Be my man. Yi Zichen twisted his neck and said softly, as long as you promise to be my informant in the future, tell me any information you find in the prison, and do whatever I want you to do, I can guarantee that you won't die, and I can even give you a huge amount of points. I agree. Old Huang agreed without hesitation. So decisive. Your Majesty, I can't not be decisive. Everyone is afraid of death. I don't think I have a right to choose right now, Old Huang said forcefully. From now on, I'm yours. I'll do whatever you want to do. I won't be the slightest bit disloyal. I can swear on my soul. No, I don't need it. This sort of soul oath is far too illusory. What's more, I don't understand your ancestral dragon clan's rules, so I don't know how restrictive it is. I trust myself more. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile, then sent a strand of divine power into Old Huang's body. Old Huang, who was sitting on the ground, also felt the divine power's presence. I placed a curse on you. If you dare betray me, this curse will take your life. Little did he know, the curse was actually fake. He had simply released a stream of divine power and purposely circled Lao Huang's head, pretending that it was a curse. His goal was to use this as a deterrent. The way he saw it, it was even more intimidating. Yes, Your Majesty, I definitely won't betray you. I definitely won't, Old Huang said solemnly. All right, I'll give you a chance to live. Yi Zichen slowly raised his hand. What are you going to say about that dead guard? I don't know where he went. Old Huang shook his head. Very good. In Yi Zichen's eyes, insisting he didn't know was the best solution. If he said who killed the guard, his lie would definitely be exposed. He might as well say he didn't know. So long as he bit down thoroughly, he wouldn't be bound by his lies. Just now, someone was looking for you on your communicator. I told them your throat hasn't been in good shape lately. Remember not to let the cat out of the bag. Just now, I ran into someone outside. I told him I was going to look for a place to fight, and he recommended the back mountains. That's why you weren't here just now. You circled around the back mountains. Got it. Got it. Old Huang nodded vigorously. Go do what you need to do. When you have time, make an application to transfer your jurisdiction to my central district. That'll make it easier for me to contact you. Yes, sir. Old Huang, where are you? Why aren't you here yet? Didn't you already go to the back mountains? Yi Zichen looked down when he heard the voice from the communication device. I just came back from the back mountains. Did you guys already go over? Old Huang feigned a hoarse voice. I'm going over right now. I'll be right there. As soon as he finished speaking, Lao Huang lifted his head and took another look. He wanted to ask if Yi Zichen was satisfied with his answer, but when he looked up, he discovered that Yi Zichen had already disappeared without a trace. Chapter 2919. The Boom City Prison War was about to begin. In truth, all of this had happened out of the blue. Simply put, it was all because of a daughter. Since ancient times, beautiful women had always been the source of trouble. Now, it seemed that this saying was completely true. From the beginning, it was all because of one simple sentence. The boss of the South District had taken a fancy to the special prison's Jiangnan. When a Milky Way Lord learned of this, he immediately chose to give up on her. This caused the two of them to fight in the prison. According to the grapevine, Yi Zichen slapped Jiang Nen a few times. When she left the prison, her mouth was still bleeding. There were also rumors that her body was covered in bruises as well. There was no way to verify whether this was true or not. In any case, it was certain that the Milky Way Lord and Jiang Nan had fallen out. After leaving the special prison, Jiang Nan was threatened. Everyone thought that Jiang Nan would eventually head for the South District, but to their surprise, he chose the East District, an old powerhouse. Baldy. This was already his 10th year in prison. He heard that someone seemed to be hunting him, so he came to the prison to avoid being hunted. He was the undisputed boss of the East District. He had many subordinates. He could be considered the strongest in the prison. However, during this period of time, a new rising star arrived in the South District. No one knew his name. All they knew was that people called him Big Brother Jia. As soon as Big Brother Jia arrived, he subdued the former boss, the lion, and became the new boss of the South District. Although he didn't cause much of a commotion in the prison, the fact that he was able to subdue the lion and the entire South District in a mere 2 days was enough to show how capable he was. This time, he had come out in full force. He had come to cause trouble for the East District. In truth, it was to fight for Jiangnan. Apart from that, everyone was actually waiting for the appearance of an important character. Yi Zichen. His Majesty was called the Milky Way Lord. Nowadays, the people in prison privately called him a coward and sneered at his actions. They thought that he didn't have the responsibility a man should have. He was tarnishing the name of the human race. Once, the Ancestral Dragon clan had a very famous human expert called the Milky Way Lord. No one knew the relationship between the Milky Way Lord and the Milky Way Lord. Some people said that the two knew each other. Others said that the Milky Way Lord borrowed the Milky Way Lord's name to intimidate others. The inmates in the latter prisons are more biased. Back then, the Milky Way Master was so awe-inspiring in the Ancestral Dragon clan. Even now, many people still remembered it vividly. In the hearts of the people of the Ancestral Dragon clan, his position was even higher than the Judgment Master. Everyone worshipped the strong. To be able to defeat the ruling master was enough to show the strength of the Milky Way Master. And the Milky Way Lord tarnished the name of Milky Way. Apparently, the Milky Way Lord had announced that if Jiang Nin did not return to his cell within 2 hours, he would come out to cause trouble for her. Now, everyone was waiting for him. Whether it was the prisoners or the prison guards, they could all go. So many people. Old Huang, who had rushed to the back of the mountain from the duty room, was panting heavily. The surrounding prison guards couldn't help but frown when they saw him. "Why are you so slow?" "I just came to the back mountain to take a look and then went back. I didn't see you on the way back, so I wanted to go back and tell you that this place is not bad." Old Huang replied with a smile. "Can't you just say it through the communicator?" The surrounding prison guards smiled wryly. When they saw Old Huang's breathless appearance, they sighed and shook their heads. Old Huang was very popular in the prison, so they were more tolerant of him. However, one of the prison guards frowned. It was none other than the one who had met Yi Zichen earlier. "Old Huang, what is it, Leicester? Did you bring your access card?" The guard frowned. Old Huang nodded and took it out. "I did. Check how many points you have left." "Huh? Why?" Something seems to have gone wrong with our system recently. Sometimes when we go to the cafeteria or go to the main entrance, we'll randomly deduct points. I just wanted you to see if you deducted too much." "Are you serious?" Before Old Huang could say anything, the others took out their access cards and activated them. "I don't have any." "Old Huang, look at yourself." Old Huang frowned and activated his access card. "I don't have any." When he saw the access card activate, Leicester subconsciously let out a sigh of relief. He nodded and patted Old Huang's shoulder, as if he had finally relaxed. "It's good that you don't have any. That might be my own problem. You have to go and talk to the prison warden. 1 point is still a point. You can't ignore it." Old Huang said worriedly. "Old Huang, Leicester is still single. Do you think everyone is like you, raising 3 kids and spending 1 point as 8 points?" The surrounding prison guards instantly laughed. "It's just a few points. There's no need to worry about it. It's quite troublesome." "That's what I thought as well." Leicester nodded with a smile. "Hey, if you don't save now, you'll know what it's like to not have any points when you get married and have kids." Old Huang sighed. Old Huang let out a long sigh. "Your attitude won't do." All right. Stop being the ambassador of saving." The prison guard smiled. "We're going to split the points later. Look at these people. They've been out for 10 odd minutes already, and we've already earned over 1 billion. It's just that why hasn't the Galactic Lord come out yet? I forced him to come out." "Oh, right, Old Huang. Why isn't the kid you brought here?" "I don't know." Old Huang's heart skipped a beat, but he still smiled and shook his head. "I haven't seen him since just now. Didn't I come to the back mountain to take a look? I don't know where that kid ran off to. He's always running around. I can't just tie him down. The newcomer is still too impetuous. D***MN. Don't tell me he went to the North District to look for beauties." We have to tell him not to mess around. This kind of thing is not allowed in our prison. If he gets reported, report what? Just give him the points. Another prison guard curled his lips. Don't bother about him. He can do whatever he wants. Let's just stay here and watch. Boss said that if the Galactic Lord comes, we have to make sure he doesn't die. Look at this guy. He's stuck with the title of His Majesty, and we've even become his nanny. What can we do about it? He's His Majesty after all. There's no point in being envious. The prison guards discussed among themselves, but there were still some who curled their lips. Looks like we're definitely going to lose this time. There's still no movement. I guess he won't come. Who said he won't? Look. Suddenly, a prison guard raised his hand and exclaimed, "Look, are those the special class people? They're here.